Coffee first and Paris by noon. Private yacht beneath the moon. 6 foot four with movie star eyes. Reads her thoughts without surprise. Owns a house before 33. Works 4 hours financially free. Kind and funny, bold yet shy. Always knows the reason why. Everybody's scrolling the same old dream. Different profile, same routine. Copy, paste another list. Searching for a perfect mix. Sky high standards touching the stars. Looking for astronauts driving sports cars. Every wish list reaches the sky. Still asking why the good ones pass by. Sky high standards higher each day. Everyone chasing the very same place. Maybe perfection never arrives. Maybe real people make better lives. Fluent in 6 exotic tongues, writes love poems, still stays young. Master chef with millionaire pay, answers every text right away. Adventure weekends every week. Strong but gentle, humble yet unique. Never jealous, never late. Apparently designed by fate. Another swipe, another clone, another prince behind the phone. Everybody starts the same. Everybody playing one game. Sky high stands touching the stars. Looking for astronauts driving sports cars. Every wish list reaches the sky. Still asking why the good ones pass by. Sky high standards higher each day. Everyone chasing the... What's up, everyone? What's up? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. So before I get into regular scheduled video, a video that I have, Laughing Man. You know I don't work. Yeah. I do work out. I'm not saying I work out intensively. I don't, but I do work out. No, I think I'm sore because I slept wrong. So it is what it is. What's up, my brother? What's up, my brother? How's that project doing? How's that project doing? Definitely, when you have a video up, show it. You know, when you have a video up, tell me. So I'll check it out. How are you doing, my brother? All right. What I was going to say. All right. I have a video scheduled, but I've said this before, okay? Wednesday night live stream is for you guys. So if you ever want to join to just chat, to react with me, you could. Or for any of the haters, the disagreeers, this is your chance. I think it was Saturday. I had I did a video with a friend, and someone online really hated it. Right? They disagreed with a lot of things I said. This is your chance. This is your time. Wednesdays, okay? If you ever have a disagreement, if you ever have a difference of opinion, Wednesday is the time. Doesn't matter if whatever I have scheduled, right? Doesn't matter what video I have. Doesn't matter. I will gladly change the topic of the stream. Okay, I will gladly change the topic of the stream to destroy you. I will gladly change the topic of the stream to destroy you in a debate. Okay, just come on. I don't mind. Okay, yeah. Show it to me when you get the chance. Show it to me when it's finished. Like I said, okay, Wednesday is your night. If you have a disagreement, if you want to have a conversation or debate on any topics, on any videos I've created, Wednesday is your time. All right. Wednesday is a call-in show. Link is in the chat. If you have the guts and you hate opinion of mine, bring it. Bring it on. I will gladly destroy you on any point of views. All right. So link is in the chat for that if you want to join. Now, I have a video or two planned, so I wanted to check it out. All right, let's get started. All right, so this is a video that I came across and I wanted to check it out. How the sexual revolution brought us Tradwives. Essentially, how feminism birthed so many different, I don't know, movements. So let's check this out.
Are the Tradwives successful reactionary feminists? Are they Louise Perry readers who've taken the right point of view?
Yes, we found their internet ideology and doubled down.
The growing alienation between men and women is, to my mind, one of the biggest stories of our time.
I'm choosing to continue to be celibate.
I have zero interest in dating ever again.
I'm not dating nobody. It's not worth it.
It's visible in our politics, where the sexes are more polarized than ever before. And it's visible all over the culture, in a feminist and progressive mood that seems to despair over heterosexuality itself. And in the...
I've said it. I think you're gonna tick them off with like Alan and Zyrax did, which you know, single mom, fantastic. I don't. Zyrax isn't a single mom, so. But yes, feminism is honestly a cancer. Now, I've said this before. I don't hate that women have equal rights. I don't. Okay. But I believe that women have gone beyond equal rights. Women want power. Women want control. Because let's be honest, okay? In a world where women have equal rights, what are they fighting for? What are women fighting for? I believe women are currently fighting for power. That's what they're doing. Women are not fighting for equal rights. And to be honest, I never think women wanted it. Women were just taking the long route. Okay. Women wanted power, particularly the white liberal women. They wanted power. They wanted control. They saw that these men had power and they wanted that. They wanted that power. Seriously, we heard children in the background. Plus, she said it. And when you brought up the topic that triggered her, you don't get a great memory, do you? I don't think she said, and DA, you know who started the whole feminist movement, right? If you know, you know. And I don't know who started the feminist movement. So I to be honest, I could care less. I'm not really like the biggest proponent of the past. So I don't necessarily base my ideas off of the past because I'm here about the right now. What's the landscape of right now? Now, I know Zyrax has children. She has kids, but I believe she has a husband. So, but you know, it is what it is.
Rise of toxic online misogynist influencers on the political right.
Women exist for sex.
You guys need to be able to stand up to your woman and tell her, shut the f up, okay?
Females don't have independent thought. They don't come up with anything. They're just empty vessels.
And then, of course,
Brandon, exactly. I believe that is the thing. They want power. They never cared about equality, but it was just a means to an end. Now, this is a thing where I hate the thing. I hate this dishonesty where you use the, I guess, the most clickbaity, most rage baity people, and you use them. You believe that they're the face of anything. They're not. Okay. They're the most popular, but I wouldn't call them the face, or I don't know, leaders of any kind of thing. Okay. But this is why I hate kind of these arguments. Is always one side. We have plenty of misandrous hate, right? Right now, there's already the crazy one, right? The big one is was it Drew Duffalo? But no, they won't show. They won't show you clips how women bash men, women's opinions on men. You see how that dishonest is? Now, I don't care. You want to show men saying honestly outrageous things about women? Cool. I'm all for it. Okay. I'm not saying don't show the negatives or whatever, but be even about it. If you're going to show one side, you got to show the other. This is why so many people say, oh, why don't you do videos on, let's say, white people? Why don't you do videos on men? There's already enough of that shit. There's already enough of videos on pointing out, I don't know, bad men or, bad whatever. There's already enough of that. What am I doing to add more to that? It doesn't do nothing for me. Okay? It's not I don't get a kick out of it, or I don't there's already women and even men pointing out, let's say, hypocritical men or men that say a whole lot of craziness. Okay, go to them. But in my opinion, there's not enough people who point out the hypocrisies and delusions and insanities of the other side, in my opinion.
Of course, there's the debate about the mysterious Tradwife phenomenon.
I submit to my husband. Our husbands are to be the breadwinners as we are to be the bread makers.
And my guest this week has some provocative ideas about where the troubles started. Louise Perry is a reactionary feminist, a columnist for the Wall Street Journal Free Expression section.
White feminists worked with the KKK to attack black men. Did they? I really didn't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I do know, right? I mean, like, very tout about, right? I forgot her name. The woman who created Planned Parenthood. I've heard the stories where she pretty much made Planned Parenthood to facilitate decreasing the black community. She won, right? Literally, the black community fell for it, right? The black community pretty much, fell into her hands. The black community has the highest abortion rates. So even though this white woman created something to hinder the black community fell for it. So it is what it is. DA, remember the biggest men hater, and she got married. So yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, seriously. That's why I don't support all men. Right? Plenty of stupid, idiotic, ridiculous men out there. Okay, men that marry, date, fall in love with feminists are honestly the worst types of men. One of
the book, The Case Against the Sexual Revolution. Louise Perry, welcome to Interesting Times.
Hello, lovely to be here.
So I'm going to ask you to start by talking about a book that you wrote several years ago now, in the misty days of the early 2020s, that was called The Case Against the Sexual Revolution. So make that case.
And I should probably start by saying what I think the sexual revolution is, or was. So I think it's two things. I think it was an ideological revolution, but I think at least as importantly, it was also a material revolution because of the pill. The distinctive thing about the pill compared with other contraception is that women can control it themselves and it's invisible. So you can be walking around temporarily sterile, and in that sense, a different creature from someone who is fertile. And in some sense, it's difficult for us now to really fully imagine what it would be like to live in a world without contraception. It's like the technological basis of so much of contemporary ways of.
This is the thing where this is why feminism is only for the middle class or the wealthy. Feminism is only for the middle class or the wealthy because of the technology men created. Right, the pill. It literally gave women freedoms, right? It gave women the freedoms. The AC air conditioners, right? Literally gave women the opportunity to go into the workforce, right? At least in droves and high amounts. Women were always working, okay? But now women can do these corporate jobs or want to do these corporate jobs because of, a more, a more suitable environment, more comfortable environment. So thanks to men's hard work, right, feminism can sprout. This is why you don't see feminism in third world countries or in poor nations. You don't, because they have bigger things to worry about, like survival. Right? Poor women have always worked, or have always, they weren't like more privileged than, or they weren't like less privileged than their men. Okay, their economically equal men have always had to survive the hardships, while women came along with it. Okay, so yeah, it was always for the wealthy. What is your opinion on this whole trad wife nonsense? I say it's a sleeper agent. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, okay, in my opinion. Now, is it all? Probably not. But my problem with the trad wife thing, okay, particularly in the West, it is very hard for women not to be feminists. Okay, and what I mean is feminist ideology is that it's counterintuitive to trad wife, right? Where you follow your man's leadership, where you don't believe that you're equal to your man, you believe you're the helper, right? You believe that. What's up, my brother? What is up, Rain? What is up, my brother? How you been? How you been? Yeah, where you believe that, trad is stupid. It's, in my opinion, it's only stupid because it's hard to do in the West. In my opinion, most women aren't trad, right? Most women aren't traditional, and it's hard to, if you grown up during the feminist age, right? If you grown up during the feminist age, it's hard for you to escape the feminist ideology. So, in my opinion, most trad wives sometimes can be covert feminists, right? Covert feminists. So they can be fakes, right? They could be fakes. That's the problem. They might not be actual, trad wives.
Life and of politics. And so the book was not a refutation of the sexual revolution. I'm a beneficiary of the sexual revolution in loads of ways. And I think that there were upsides. It's, as the title says, it's the case against.
So what is the case against? What then is the critique of the New World Order?
That there are...
We are too modernized to even know what the version of trad they want. Here's the thing. This is why I've said this before. The majority of people, in my opinion, average people, I mean, like, this is like middle class and under, right? Middle class and under. Majority of people, the best thing you can do is 50-50. Majority of people, the best thing you could do is 50-50. I think trad wives are for the select few, as in maybe the wealthy, or let's say people who marry outside of America, outside of the West. Okay. Because again, at the end of the day, it's hard for me to believe that you found a woman with truly traditional values. Because a lot of times these women think traditional value is purely him providing. You don't have to work. You are a stay-at-home mom. That's it. That's what these women think trad wife is. That you are providing, that the man is providing, and the woman is being a stay-at-home mom. That's not all it is. Okay, you're the helpmate. You follow his leadership. He makes the decision. You follow. You will follow blindly sometimes. That's traditional. Is that he is the leader. You follow his lead. Your duty, 100%, is the home and the family. Now, if he wants to help, he will help. But your duty, your job is 100% the home and the family. I think a lot of women can't escape modern mindset. So I would say that, you know what? It's better off for you to do 50-50. You both work. You both take care of the kids. You both do domestic work. So she don't go, whatever, go crazy and like, he's taking advantage of me. He's never did it for the kids and all this shit, right? That's bars. What is up, my brother? What is up?
Important ways in which men and women are different from one another, which in any other era is just a completely trivial thing to say, but it is somewhat provocative right now. There are obvious physical differences between the sexes. Only women can get pregnant. There's a There's an inherent asymmetry in terms of physical vulnerability, which is just a fact that we can't get away from. And then more controversially, there are also some ways in which men and women differ on average psychologically. There are obviously outliers in every direction, but in general, so when we think about sexual relationships, men have a stronger drive in general towards having casual sex and having lots of partners, enjoying all the fruits of the sexual revolution, than do women. And women also disproportionately suffer the costs of sexual relationships that go awry. So in terms of unwanted pregnancies, which still happen even in the age of contraception, I think it's something like half of pregnancies in America, probably same in Britain, are unplanned. Women on a physical level suffer that entirely. And also women are much more likely to suffer from sexual violence, and will always be at a disadvantage when alone with a man, all else being equal.
The whole sexual revolution thing, which I think, I believe, right, correct me if I'm wrong, created or pushed by women, has made women either into whores, right, 304s, or helped still help only the top tier men, right, the men that have always had that never had problems when it comes to women. It made women, honestly, not ladies. It made women modern day women, modern 304s. The sexual revolution has only shown everyone that women at the end of the day are no better than men. No better than men. Women will objectify themselves. Women will sell their bodies. Women will casually sleep with men. So it just showed you that the sexual revolution was great because it showed you that women are no better than the terrible men they talk about.
So in that sense, a culture of casual sex is very much worse for women than it is for men. Even if there will be some women who enjoy casual sex, who seek it out, I don't refute that. I think that a culture where that is the expected way in which one makes one's sexual debut, say in college, is bad in general for women. And to some extent, I've written this book as a millennial, right? So I've come out of when I was.
My thing is like, I just say that I'm not saying that it's a perfect thing. Okay, I'm not saying it's a perfect thing finding a woman overseas, because I've seen it. I've said this before. Feminism is slowly affecting other nations, right? Japan, Korea, China, so on and so on. So feminism is affecting other nations. My thing is that you better be quick about it. Plain and simple. Okay? Because once a feminism has truly dig deep into other countries, other nations, it will then be even harder to find a woman that has not been poisoned by feminism. Because like I said, women working has always been a thing. Women have always helped provide for a family. So this is the thing where in the Asian community, okay, women work. They do. That has never been a feminist, issue. That has never been a feminist thing. Okay, in the Asian community, women also provide as well, but women know that their provision isn't the main thing sometimes, and they still know at the end of the day their main duty is the family and the household. Asian women, that's the thing. Okay, so but once feminism takes root, women think that working makes you equal to a man. It doesn't. See, that's when you see the feminism creep in. Traditional women, right? Even back in the day, even back in America, they still like bake cookies to sell. They still do sewing. They do women jobs, right? Women like jobs to still bring in money. Nursing was still a thing. Teaching, other professions that women were doing to find extra income to bring into the household. So women were working always.
As students, that really was the prevailing culture. That really was riding high. That might be less true now. I think we can get onto this.
Right. No, we're gonna talk about how completely the world has changed since
so
you wrote the book.
This book in like 2020,
right, right. You're writing about a world in which sort of the norms around sex are at least supposedly defined by hookup culture.
Yeah.
Okay. So the case for it? The case for it is straightforward.
Yeah.
Right. You give women a kind of autonomy
Yep.
that they didn't have before. You enable people to escape from scenarios where they have to marry the first man that they had sex with, right? And then this feeds into a different kind of material revolution where women are able to succeed and thrive in the workplace as never before.
Yeah.
How does that fit into your critique of the sexual revolution?
No, I agree. When popular culture, when society, government, whatever, so on and so on, is backing up those feminist movements, then yes, it gets extreme. I mean, I think Korea is already facing it. I think Korea is facing it already. So Korea is an extreme case, and you're seeing it.
Is it just sort of an asterisk? Is it something that's inseparable from the changing sexual landscape? How do women in the workforce fit in?
It's somewhat distinct from the technology shock of the pill that we've mostly been speaking about, but it's connected. I mean, when women's mass entry into the labour market is partly an ideological product, I would say that it's actually more a consequence of the economy changing.
100%. 100%. It's career over family for me. That's the thing where women knew that family come first. Because they knew that they weren't the provider. It was the helpmate. They were meant to help. Everything a woman does in a family is to help. Okay? Everything a woman does. If you're a traditional woman, being a traditional woman, the main thing is to help. Everything you do is to help. So if you work, it's to help the family. If you take care of the kids, you take care of the household, it's to help your family. The man, his duty is to provide. That is to sustain the family. So yes, that's what I see it.
And the sort of jobs that women can more easily do becoming more plentiful, but also when it takes less time to keep a household warm, clothed and fed, it becomes more possible for women to participate in public life. Obviously, women have always worked, but traditionally the sort of work that women do is the sort of work that can be combined with childcare. Typically in agricultural societies, like processing raw materials, because you can do that when children are around. But anyway, the nature of women's work does change post-sexual revolution. A lot of that is to do with macro changes in terms of technology. And it does present some serious challenges when it comes to the sexual and reproductive side of things. Because there is Elizabeth Warren famously in the two-income trap points out that when it becomes the norm for both parents to take home a paycheck, you introduce a fragility in the domestic economy where if either parent for any reason stops earning, that's a problem. And particularly if the mother stops earning because she's had a baby, that becomes a real problem. Because if the assumption is that you have two paychecks and you're competing for, say, housing against other families who also have two paychecks, then families with a single income are at a disadvantage. So there are ways in which this is a very good example, I think, of ways in which a culture which seems to offer endless choice to women in particular can, in a way, restrict choice.
In terms of the history of the sexual revolution, I want to tease out how much the kind of sexual transformation of society is separable or not from that economic transformation. When I think about the history, it seems like there is a period that is sort of very distinctively male-driven. That I think people sometimes tend to underestimate this because of the sort of narrative around it that folds all good things together, right? And says we got sexual liberation and we got feminism at the same time, and it was a wonderful package deal. And in reality, if you go back to the late 50s and into the 60s and even into the early 1970s, you would say some of the dominant figures of the sexual revolution at that point are Hugh Hefner, right? Playboy and the Playboy philosophy. But then you also very quickly have a feminist reaction, I think, that picks up on at least some of the points you're offering in critique from the beginning, right? That focuses on sexual violence and rape, right? And the dangers of those things, that focuses on the vulnerability of women, the need to sort of figure out what consent actually means in these circumstances. Can you give me your sense of what is the feminist critique of the sexual revolution? And then I guess from your perspective, why does it not succeed in sort of dealing with the problems and the fallout?
So yes, the feminist critique of the sexual revolution emerges almost immediately. Andrew Dworkin and Catherine McKinnon, these are some of the key figures who are from the get-go saying this isn't in women's interests. And there's the so-called sex wars of the 70s and 80s is an intra-feminist argument over exactly this. And I think that
what was that argument?
So Dworkin and McKinnon, among others, were highly critical of pornography in particular, and really very prescient about pornography, because of course at the time they were talking about kind of smutty magazines, which now seem to us to be quite tame. But actually, I don't think that Dworkin would have been surprised at all by what internet pornography has ended up looking like. I think that they had a better sense actually of where the cultural winds were blowing than their critics. They're also very critical of the sex industry in general and of the idea of women's role being as instruments to male sexual pleasure, but they ended up losing the argument. And it was certainly by the 90s, the sex positive vision, as it's sometimes called, was riding high. And then the emphasis was not so much on women as a class, because Dworkin and McKinnon, they're thinking really in Marxist terms about women as a class of people who are affected in these kind of material ways. The feminists who end up winning the day culturally take a more individualistic approach, see it more as a choice that women can make on a personal level to maximize their own autonomy by using whatever tools they want to, etc. Again, I think this is now somewhat consigned to history, but that was the sequence,
right?
And then when, say, Sex and the City comes along, those kind of
right. No, by the time you get to the late 1990s and the early 2000s, this is sort of the peak of Friends as the most popular American sitcom, and then Sex and the City, and there's sort of an assumption that feminism, sex positivity, and a sort of highly individualistic vision have carried the day. Would you say that like a weakness of the sort of Dworkin and McKinnon perspective was that it was simply too sex negative, right? I mean, that's sort of my impression looking back, right, is that if you say, okay, we have this fierce feminist critique of the sexual revolution, but it goes all the way to saying that, in fact, there's really no way for men and women to be together at all.
All sex is right.
All sex is right.
I think she never precisely said those words, but she obviously meant them.
Dworkin,
absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how post Me Too, there was a kind of resurgence of interest in Dworkin in particular, and a view from some feminists who hadn't lived through the sex wars that maybe they had it right all along. I have a lot of respect for Andrew Dworkin in particular, mostly because she was an extremely good writer. I think that often gets forgotten about her. But yeah, I mean, also an extremist, absolutely an extremist. And the hostility towards men is palpable.
Oh, those TikTok. I got them off of the TikTok shop. So yeah, TikTok. I think Amazon has them too. So,
but then equally, I mean, what comes out of Me Too, right, is this immense sense, which I think is still with us, of despondency and disappointment around what the sexual revolution seemed to have offered. The offer was liberation, right. And it's fairly obvious to everybody that hasn't been delivered.
Right. No, I think you have to see Me Too as a kind of successor to the McKinnon and Dworkin era.
Yeah.
Where again you have this sort of this reassessment of hookup culture and everything associated with it that does sort of adopt a version of the argument you're making, right? That this is a landscape that obviously benefits men, or at least powerful men, exploitative men.
Here's the stupidity of women. Okay, men never needed it. The men that benefits, right? The men that benefits this shit, benefits from women's stupidity, never needed it. They never needed the sexual revolution. They never needed women to, do all this. They didn't, because they were benefiting regardless. Wealthy men, good-looking men, never needed women's help. So to say that it benefit men or the top-tier men, they never needed it at all. This is the stupidity of women. This is why. This is the pretty much the only reason why I even care about feminism in the sense that, or support feminism, is that no, it don't benefit women. It's not about benefiting men. It's about holding women accountable. You are the problem. After feminism, now you are the problem. Now women are the problem, not men. Stop saying it benefit men, because even before it always benefit men. Life has always been, and I'm not saying, this is a stupid. It always benefited top tier men. Okay. Life has always benefited top tier men. If you're hyper rich, if you're hyper good looking, life has always benefited those men. So to say that it benefited men, they were already benefiting before. It's not like they weren't benefiting. That's a stupidity. Say that, oh, the sexual revolution and benefit men or what? They were already benefiting. So men never had that. Top tier men never had that issue. Feminism was just to show you how low IQ so many women were. Zyrax, come on, my sister, love ya. Come on, bring it up. This is your chance.
Predatory men.
Yeah.
But then where do you think Me Too ends up? Like, what is the cultural takeaway from Me Too? Where does it leave us?
Yeah, I mean, so the solution offered by Me Too is, so either, I guess, employing sort of gossip networks to damage male reputations. It's one of the few tools that women do have at their disposal to deal with predatory men. So it's that. And then it's also proposals to sort of re-educate men. So things like consent workshops. I used to teach consent workshops because my first proper job out of...
Stupid. To re-educate men? This is why I've said this before. Women are low IQ. Re-educate men in what way? It didn't stop the criminals. Me Too did not stop men from stop the bad men from being bad. It didn't. It only shamed men. Okay? It only shamed good men. That's what Me Too did. It only shamed good men and brought fear into good men. Me Too did not solve women's problems. It didn't. Now, here's the thing, right? I don't necessarily hate it in a sense, because for the women that it benefited from, fine. But let me say this: when it comes to the Me Too things, it just showed you women's weakness, in my opinion. I don't disregard that how sometimes society, police, the system don't take women seriously. I admit they a lot of times they don't. But it shows you me a lot of times, in a lot of these cases, right, where women don't say anything. They don't say anything to nobody when something bad happens to them. Then 10 or 20 years later, they say something. I just find that honestly idiotic. I really do. And I'm not saying that I don't understand the part where, women do bring things up to, let's say, police, and they aren't taken seriously. I get that. But I don't know. I think sometimes that it helps nobody. It helps nobody, not even the women, where they don't make it an issue when it should be an issue. I don't understand why when things happen, it's like during Me Too, women can get together and try to create change, but did they? I don't understand why Me Too didn't come together. RPM, what is up? What is up? Come together and try to change the legal system in a sense. I don't.
University was working for a rape crisis centre, and one of my jobs was to go into schools and teach consent workshops. So I'm not completely opposed to consent workshops.
What was it like to teach consent workshops?
So consent workshops, I think, do something different from what people think that they do. So I think that the purpose of a consent workshop is actually to, typically taught in schools or universities, is to tell students what the law is, to protect the institution, that we've made it clear what's acceptable, and also to tell victims where they can go for help. What consent workshops don't do is like reprogram young men, which is, I think, a typical feminist response to say, no, we should teach men not.
Zyrax, I think you don't know what he meant. He's calling you a single mother. And you're saying loud and proud. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you're married. You're not a single mom. So.
Right. I don't think that is the primary driver of sexual violence. Ideological. I don't think that, and this is one way in which I differ from a lot of feminist thinking. I don't think that rape or rape culture is an ideological product. I think it's a biological thing, primarily, which we can respond to in all sorts of societal ways. I mean, if we're concerned about ideological, I mean, this is one criticism that I have of the more individualistic feminist position, which is that if you think that rape is a product of propaganda, shall we say, consent workshops are no match for pornography. Just think of hundreds of hours that a typical teenage boy might be exposed to pornography compared with 30 minutes to a consent web shop. I mean, there's no match. So just on that basis, we're at a disadvantage. And talking to McKinnon's position on banning pornography makes a lot more sense. If you think that rape is a product of ideology, that makes so much more sense than any other intervention.
And this is why your style of feminism, as part of it, gets labeled reactionary feminism.
I'm not out for you. I don't know what you mean. I mean, is it true? I thought you were. I thought you had a husband. I mean, if it's true, then okay. I have a different way of thinking about you. If it's true, I have a different way of thinking about you, and I would debate you a little bit differently. I viewed you a bit differently because you're a married woman, or I thought you were a married woman. But if you're not, well, girl, if you're not a married woman, I will go about you drastically different.
No, that's a term that
It's partly a joke.
It's partly a joke, but like all
I'm sorry. I'm very, very against single mothers. In the sense that I think single mothers is a detriment to society in general. I'm not saying all single mothers are terrible. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying single mother concept, or just in general, has been a net negative to society. That's what I think. Single mothers has been a net negative to society. So yeah, I will always be against single mothers. I mean, if that's true, then it's on me. Egg on my face. I thought you had a husband. Because I could have swore you said that a few times. But if you are a single mother, girl, in certain debates, I will rip you apart. I'm sorry. And I still love you. I still love you, my sister. But again, I think single mothers are. I've said this before. Okay, I talk a lot of shit. I talk a lot about the Black community. But one of the things I talk about in the Black community is single mothers have ruined the Black community. The matriarchy has ruined the Black community. The matriarchy has ruined the Black community. The Black community is made up of single mothers, and it has destroyed the Black community. This is why the Asian community do not like, all right? They do not promote, they do not advertise single mothers. They don't. Because it is a shame. It's shameful. Zyrax, you broke my heart. You broke my heart. Is that now I'm gonna have to go at it a different way. All right. In certain debates, if that's true, girl, you broke my heart. Okay. I'm gonna have to think about you differently. I'm gonna have to think about you differently, and I'm gonna have to rip you apart.
Things, all labels begin as jokes and become sort of realities to some degree. But that's a term that's, I think, most as I would describe it, seems to emerge after sexual revolution, and it didn't lead to a stable system, right? It just ended up leading to more alienation between the sexes. They also emerged, particularly in
another thing, right? Another thing I hate about feminism is that feminism is what came about to try to take away the stigma, the shame on single mothers. This is why feminism has poisoned the Black community. For the longest time, having kids out of wedlock, being a single mother has been a huge shame. Has been a huge shame on society, on any culture that has single mothers. It has been shameful. Thanks to feminism, it has slowly but surely take away that shame, take away that stigma. And I think that's idiotic. I really do. I think that's not a positive thing at all. It should always be a shame to be a single mother. Always. And again, I'm not saying that all single mothers are terrible. I'm not condemning all single mothers. I'm not condemning women in all situations. There are plenty of situations where, you're with a man, a terrible, terrible man. Now, in reality, you pick that man. Okay, you pick that man, so that's also your fault. But still, I could understand abusive men that cheat, infidelity. I get it.
The UK in debates around
Laughing Man, you are right. I you know what? I stand corrected. He was the whole time, right at the beginning. He was telling me that, he was telling me it, and you know what? I was defending her because I could have swore she said she had a husband. I could have swore it, but you know what? I admit I'm old, and and sometimes maybe I don't hear right. So I admit I was wrong. I admit I was wrong. I gave her too much credit than I should have. I wouldn't necessarily blame feminism on single mothers, but the welfare state expanding under Lyndon B. Johnson. Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. In my opinion, I think feminism facilitated it. I think feminism facilitated it, in my opinion. Okay, when women were gaining more rights, I think that facilitated it. Feminism is a framework, which is a moving policy. I can see that.
Gender issues, right? Where the reactionary feminists sometimes are people who were radical feminists, right? Who were sort of.
Then you should have? What do you mean? What the heck? I don't know what you mean. Then you should have? I don't. Oh, I mean, I gave you too much credit than I should have? Yeah. I thought you were a wife. So, yeah, I gave you too much credit than I should have. I'm not saying that you're a fun person to talk to. But I can understand more. I understand more of your point of views if you are a single mother.
Insisting on differences, biological differences between the sexes that then they feel get effaced by the push for transgender rights. But that's my description. What's your description of your own perspective?
Reactionary feminism certainly is it starts from the assumption of crucial biological difference.
And it thinks that many forms of feminism have underplayed how important that is.
Yes. An expression that Mary likes to use is men and women have to find a way of getting along. But that is not necessarily a given, right? In other styles of feminist thought. I've often been accused of being anti-men in my book because I say things boldly like sexual violence is overwhelmingly committed by men and sexual violence is a product of male sexual desire and all this kind of stuff. It's a lot of people take that as an indictment of men. I don't. I just think it's a fact. But it's paired, obviously.
Something can be a fact and an indictment.
I suppose so. But I suppose I forgive men for this because I think it's also true that there are all sorts of virtues that are found in men and are maybe found more often in men than they are in women. And
such as?
I mean, the challenge of youthful male energy is that this period of maximum danger in terms of violence and aggression is also typically the period of maximum energy, and the risk tolerance that men have, which leads them to do violent things, is often also the same risk tolerance that allows them to be inventive and adventurous and all of these great things, And I say this as a mother of two boys, I think that
you want them to have high risk tolerance.
Yes. And in some sense, every society has to try and solve this problem. What do we do about this energy that we find in young men? How do we channel it? Because if you don't channel it in a good direction, it's very destructive. And so,
sometimes I think women are bored. Right? Sometimes I think women are bored because I believe feminism is essentially women trying to reinvent the wheel. That's what I think. So you hear what she said, right? Channel the energy of boys. This is the problem with so many women, where this is something that a lot of feminists like to use, right? Majority of violence is committed by men. This is something that feminism love to use, and she kind of used it, right? I think she said, what is it? The majority of sexual violence or whatever is committed by men. here's the stupidity in that mindset. Let me say it again. This is what feminists love to say. Majority of violent crime is committed by men. But you know how stupid that statement is, because there's no actual deeper context. What do I mean by that? So when you dig in deeper into that, correct. Majority of violent crime is committed by men. But the deeper context or the deeper narrative that you got to dig in deeper for is majority of men do not commit violent crimes. So you can say that with anything. Sexual crimes, violent crimes, petty crimes, it doesn't matter. Majority of men do not commit crimes of any level. Majority of men do not commit crimes of any level. So, even using the violent crime thing that women love to constantly say, if you look at the numbers, violent crimes are, and I'm going about higher end, is about probably 300,000, give or take, okay? Every year or so. 300,000 about every year. 300,000. Sounds like a lot, right? Sounds like a lot. But when you look at the number of men, the male population, it is about, maybe about 170 million, 160 million. So about 300,000. I can even up it. 400,000 violent crimes, okay? Compared to about 160 million men. Guess what that equals? Less than 1%. Less than 1%. So, as much as this men commit violent crimes thing, when you actually put it into context, only about 1% of men, less than 1% of men commit violent crimes. So, when you talk about men committing violent crimes, you're only talking about 1% of men? Bitch, are you stupid? How can you compare, use 1% of men to quantify majority of men? When you say men, you better mean majority. When I say women, I at least mean 51%. All right? When I say women, I at least mean 51%. I mean, it's true. Majority of women, right? Majority of divorces are filed by women. That is about 60 to 70%. That's majority. Right? So when I say women, I at least believe it's either backed by facts that it is majority, at least 51%, or I believe it's 51%. I believe at that. But again, what women say, hey, when it comes to men, it's not even more than 10, it's not even more than 5%. It is 1%. So when you say, oh, majority of violence is committed by men, guess what? That's only 1% of men. So really, your whole men do this, men do that, you don't even know how many. The point in mentioning that fact, DA, is to show who's more violent. It's comparative. How is it comparative? 1%. 1% of anything is not compared to nothing. Okay? You want to compare it to women. Who's comparing it to women? I mean, it's like you're comparing 1% to what? Less than 0.0%? It's not even worth comparing. That's disingenuous. That's disingenuous. You're using 1% to compare to women? You know it's already disingenuous statistics. You're using 1% of men. To prove what? That men are more violent? No, men are not more violent. Right? Men are not more violent. Okay? 1%. That's why it's like you can't say men are more violent. No. You can't. Because the numbers don't back it up. Men are not more violent. Because you can't say 1% is equal to nothing. 1% does not quantify anything. 1% does not represent men. 1% of men don't represent majority of men, not even 50% of men. So it is a delusional comparison. It is a ridiculous comparison. It's a weak comparison. And this is the thing where you actually dig in deeper to that. That's what women do. Women it's essentially a straw man argument. Women need to create that narrative to help prove whatever point they have. It's men inflicting violence. See, this again. It's men inflicting violence versus women inflicting violence. Do you know the number? What is it? I think. Let's see.
I don't know, maybe you send them off to war, or you or you send them to boarding schools or whatever. There are various solutions that we've tried. I don't think that the solution that has been toyed with in our own era of just pretending that men and women are the same, psychologically or physically, is productive at all. I think that's a mistake. So I guess that what reactionary summons is a different relationship to the recent past. It's not an attempt to roll back the clock just a little bit by a few decades. It's more of an attempt to look at the sweep of human history and think, okay, what are men and women like? And how have people in different times and places solved these problems, which we are also grappling with? So my first degree was in anthropology, and then I did a degree in women's history as well. And I think that my anthropological training has probably done more even than working in mid-crisis to sort of shape my view of the contemporary moment. Because I think there are so many ways in which our culture is so strange.
Oh, Brandon, I love that. I talk about this a lot. How, I mean, if you see my videos, if you ever see my videos, I talk about this a lot. How women, right, can point men like guns at other men. So women are secretly, right, they can be secretly violent because they use men against other men.
In terms of the long sweep of human history. So strange, and we think such odd things and have a tendency to assume that we are somehow outside of history or somehow completely unlike men and women of the past, and that we don't need to solve the problems that they did using the tools that they had. And hey, we have the pill, so to some extent, we're not completely wrong about that. There are some ways in which we are outside of history and we have very different tools at our disposal.
Right, we're in a different technological moment along several dimensions, right? I want to get to the question of the effects of the digital revolution on relations between men and women. But before I get there, I just want to consider why a non-reactionary feminist might look at your argument or your critique and have some strong doubts, right? And so I think one obvious thing that...
Yo, Omni, what is up, my brother? What is up?
They might say is, okay, look, yes, we have not exactly figured out an ideal way for men and women to get along under feminist conditions. Fair enough. Was the way that men and women got along in, Victorian London or, Georgian London or any prior period in this metropolis of history, was that some ideal model? No, every era has a non-ideal model because life is non-ideal. And in this particular era, women have received jobs, legal rights, all kinds of forms of independence. And this is the crucial point, they are choosing that, right? Women are more politically liberal or more politically progressive in both the United States and in the UK. They've become still more politically liberal in the last few years, and we'll get to that in a moment. But generally, they are, they are free actors in a free society making free choices. And a case against the sexual revolution that starts with the idea that it has been bad for women isn't.
Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love, my brother.
That accusing women of false consciousness to some degree, of not understanding their own interests.
So two things I'd say to that. One is I think that what's sometimes called heteropessimism, this buzzy word, is an indictment of the sexual revolution.
What is heteropessimism?
So heteropessimism is a word sometimes used to describe particularly women's feeling of antagonism and disappointment towards heterosexual relationships with men, and the feeling of just wanting to opt out, which is often, a product of being burned by hookup culture. And I think that a lot of this is downstream of lack of friendships with the opposite sex. I think also feeds into women not necessarily having had any positive close relationships with men until they are inducted into a sexual culture which assumes that the default initial relationship will be casual. I think that is a lot of what explains heteropessimism. That if your only experience of men is within a culture which does favor their interests, I just mean specifically the sexual culture favors their interests, it's not surprising that women are feeling negative. And it's not difficult to find women raging against a culture of casual sex.
But then also,
women perpetuate it. And they say that it's men's interest. It's only a select few. I think correct me if I'm wrong. I think data shows that men overwhelmingly want marriage compared to women. Well, maybe not overwhelmingly, but more men want marriage compared to women. So I take that, I try to correlate it that there are more men that want serious relationship comparative to women. The problem isn't that, okay, men want casual sex. No, the problem is that women are attracted to the men that want casual sex. This is why I've said it. The sexual revolution never benefited. I mean, it wasn't about benefiting men, because top tier men have always benefited from top tier men never had problems when it came to women. Women have always wanted the higher tier men. Always. Throughout history, women have always wanted the higher tier men. It's either good looking, social status, wealth. Women have always wanted these types of men. So it doesn't mean that, oh, the sexual revolution happened and, oh, men were benefiting. No, these types of men were always benefiting. The sexual revolution only made the men that barely benefit or never benefit even worse.
so people are still falling in love and getting married, right?
Yeah.
And they are getting married and falling in love less often than they did 40 or 50 years ago. But the marriages that are made have tended now to be a bit more durable. The divorce rate is down somewhat, right? So you have kind of people who do get married are selecting into marriages that are, reasonably long lasting, are more egalitarian, right? Men do more housework and spend more time taking care of children and so on. And again, they're the compensations of professional success and independence, right? I mean, how do you wait for those? Like, maybe the price of professional success and education is just a little more heteropessimism.
And maybe some people will just opt out.
Right.
And they're allowed to.
Yes.
That's fine. And clearly there are people who are, despite all of the ways in which we have redesigned the default life course such that it is no longer the standard sequence to, be essentially match made by your community and then to get married and have children, all this default. There are people who are nonetheless doing that. One thing that I would say though to feminists, to fellow feminists, is that if we can't find a way of encouraging a feminist way of having children, like if feminist cultures turn out to be cultures that cannot reproduce themselves, then the political project dies within a generation.
Just eat what you were talking about with heteropessimism.
Please let they die out. Please let the feminist movement die. This is a thing where the women that are saying that they're not going to date men or they opt out of please let the feminists go extinct. This is what I've said before. Men, go elsewhere. Do not date, marry feminists. Do not have sex. Do not impregnate feminists. Let them die out. Let their ideology die out with them. Let it out. Because this is a thing where as time goes on, you're seeing the results of feminism. More and more women are either they're marrying less, they're marrying later, they're having fewer and fewer children. Guess what? That will facilitate the feminist ideology dying out as quickly as possible.
Right? There's just much more hostile discourse between men and women coming from the feminist left, obviously coming from a kind of masculinist right. And this, I think it's the negativity that is really striking to me. And again, lots of this, maybe especially in the States, but I'm sure in the UK as well, has focused on men and male alienation. But there was a really good essay in the New Statesman, the sort of left of center, right, British publication, about female alienation, that sort of women are moving left out of a kind of profound cultural alienation, deep pessimism about the whole social structure, like sort of hostility to capitalism and hostility to young men seem to go together. And then you have obviously something.
You hate capitalism? You hate young men? Go move to an island. Go move to an island. Do it.
Very powerful happening with younger men who are sort of deep into forms of right-wing politics that are like, sort of tangled up with misogyny as well as forms of racism and anti-Semitism. How much of this do you think is just digital conditions? Like, just as the pill was a revolution, like how much of it is just the internet is bad for relations between men and women?
I think quite a lot. One of the things that the internet does is that it exposes what the other sex is saying about you all the time.
Okay, go on. No, this is something that say more about what that means.
So what would previously have been locker room talk, or would have been women gossiping amongst themselves, is public and exposed in a way that it was never historically. And I think that type of talk ought to be private. It's perfectly normal and natural for people to have mostly homosocial kind of friendships and to say vulgar or unkind things in private. But now, of course, the internet blasts this out into the public domain. I think that is part of the problem. I think also, and this has been much commented upon, the extent that internet encourages people to double down on their ideologies is also part of the problem. I'm sure that this is a big part of what's going on with young women. Young women are very mimetic. I mean, human beings are very mimetic, but young women, I think, are more mimetic. So, for instance, young women are often the originators of new slang. They're very sort of socially sensitive, and fashions and so on often originate among young women. And that ability, which is both good and bad, is turbocharged online because the internet is this remarkable tool for mimesis. Hence why I think you see actually greater political radicalization among young women than among young men. Obviously, the young male political radicalization is more commented upon because young men are more dangerous. Probably the main reason that we're more worried about violence that they might commit. I think the manosphere.
Show me the numbers. I hate. This is why I fight against this shit. Show me the numbers that men are more dangerous. Because again, this is why I was fighting against Zyrax with this. This is the problem. Men are more dangerous. Men are more dangerous. Show me the number. I can show you numbers. I can show you numbers that violent crime has gone down. I can show you the numbers. Violent crime has actually gone down drastically year after year. Violent crime has gone down drastically year after year after year. So literally, I can disprove that, men are more violent. Men are becoming less and less violent. So I can disprove that. And the whole thing about men are more violent, this is a problem. This is a problem with narrative. Men have the capability, men have the capacity for violence, for extreme violence. Men have the capacity for extreme violence. I don't disagree with that. Right? Majority of men have the capability, the capacity for extreme violence because of the strength. I don't disagree with that. But the numbers don't show that men are committing more violence or just that men are violent. Because if you're talking about 1% of men, that's not majority of men. That's not even a quarter of men. So there's no numbers to back up that shit. I can literally told you violence is going down. I could literally show you majority of men are not violent. But again, are we talking about biology? Yes, men have the capability, men have the capacity for extreme violence. I don't disagree with that. But when women talk, they're not talking about biology. Okay? They're not talking about psychology. Women are talking about actions. That's what women are talking about. And in actions, majority of men don't commit violent crimes. So you can't say that. Also, these violent numbers, these violent crime numbers, a lot of studies can show that tells you that a lot of these violent crimes are usually repeat offenders. Repeat offenders. So it's the same man committing more and more crime. It's not like these numbers are filled with new men. Every new man committing more crimes. No, it's usually the same man committing crimes.
Is unlikely to encourage young men to be violent and dangerous. I think is quite likely to encourage them to be lonely and sad. And that seems like a problem. But in terms of who has actually changed politically over the last 10 years, it's young women who are veering left and young men who've actually stayed relatively still, at least the median young man.
Yeah.
Women are becoming more radicalized. Men aren't. Women are. Men are tired of it. Men are tired of the mentally unstable women. There are studies that show you that women are becoming more mentally unstable than ever before. More women are on antidepressants than ever before. More women are mentally stable than ever before. Why do you think women are promoting trans? Women are promoting trans because they see themselves in the trans community. Mentally unstable people, flock with mentally unstable people. Right? If you're crazy, you're going to attract the crazy.
No, I've seen that. Yeah, you can see that in polls. That there's this. I think you'll get a slight rightward tilt for young men, and you do have some polling that will say, sort of ask sort of feminist coded questions about like, what are your expectations for your wife, and are working women good for society, and so on. I think in some of those you do see also some rightward movement among Zoomer men.
Yeah.
But if you're just asking about sort of general questions of political affiliation, it's a very stark divergence among young women relative to men.
And this is very bad for relationships. It does seem as though men and women de-radicalize each other through exposure, through positive internet exposure, and that's exactly what's not happening.
What about, though, so in addition to sort of misogyny on the right and anti-masculinity on the left, you also have a sort of cultural phenomenon in the last few years.
What did you call it? Misandry. This is a thing where mainstream media, this is the New York Times, they hate to recognize that women hate men. Anti-misogyny, it's like, fuck it. So even their opposition to the other side, it's just about men, right? It's just, oh, you hate the worst of men. That's the thing, right? Anti-misogyny. Instead of saying misandry, this is why it's a bunch of BS. Okay, this is why there's content like this on the internet, right? This is why there's content like this on the internet, to show you that stop with that BS. Women aren't hating men because of misogyny. Women are just hating men. Women are just hating men. Because I can tell you, show me the numbers. Show me the numbers of men hating women. Show me the numbers. You're not gonna be able to show me numbers. Okay, you're not. Because I can show you even the violent crimes against women. That would disprove your argument. To say men hate women.
That is itself sort of reactionary, right? Which is the Tradwife, right? Are the Tradwives successful reactionary feminists? Are they Louise Perry readers who've taken the right point of view?
Who've doubled down on who found their internet ideology and doubled down. I mean, yes, Tradwives are an internet phenomenon, obviously.
Yes. What do you make of them?
I literally just did a video of this. I literally just did a video on this, a TikTok video. It's disgusting. It really is. I just did a video of a white judge, a white female judge, letting out a 22-time felon, right? A criminal. Oh, and only 17 days later, after she let him out, he tried to R-word a woman. That's feminism for you. That's feminism for you.
Sympathy with, I think that Tradwives are angry and sad for the same reasons that progressive feminists are angry and sad, but they have a different set of solutions which they think will solve it. Everybody
churned butter. You churn the butter.
Everybody notices that not only are relations between the sexes mutually embittered, but also there are certain ways in which women's lot is just quite tragic. There are ways in which, say, the nature of the female reproductive system is that it causes a lot of suffering often. In a way that just isn't true for men because we have more complex reproductive systems.
I swear to God. And this is a thing where I don't discount. I don't discount when it comes to the reproductive hardships of women. I don't discount that. But to say that it should be on men is honestly ridiculous. To say that it's a reason to fight against men is ridiculous. In my opinion, Men have created society. This might be controversial. Men have created society to facilitate that very problem. Imagine this. So women's reproductive difficulties. Guess what? Men focus on medicine. Men created society where women weren't obligated to work. Women aren't obligated to be the provider. Guess why there were no fault divorces? Guess why divorces favor women so much? Guess why marriages is meant to favor women? Guess why men are the ones to go to war? Guess why men are the ones who predominantly die in the workplace? Men have shaped modern men, right? Civilized society has created society to facilitate, hopefully, because again, nothing is perfect, but men have shaped society so it can, as best as it could, compensate for the uphill, the difficulties of women reproductive disadvantages, I guess you could call it. Men have created that. Men have shaped the world to modern day men, or modern society men, civilized men, has shaped the world as best as they could to focus on, we get it. Women have difficulties, so we don't expect women to provide. We shame men, we shame people who have kids out of wedlock. Right? We make the confinements of marriage as best for women's prosperity as possible. Men have literally shaped society for women because of those disadvantages. But guess what? Women have fought against it. So, in men's mind, okay, I guess that you don't want it. So now that you still have to have kids, guess what? Now men think that you should go to work as well. What can I say? Women fought against it. Women don't like the society that men created to help women in their disadvantages. But women fought against it. And guess what types of women? It's usually the white liberal women that can't get a man. That's what it is, right? The white liberal women that can't get a man, that don't have kids, they didn't like it, so they fought to have power just like men. Guess who fought against it? Back in when feminism was still a little baby movement, majority of women did not like feminism. Majority of women did not want the status quo to change. Majority of women in the West did not want the status quo to change because majority of women knew that society, right, with all its flaws, catered to them, catered to women. And I'm not saying that women didn't work. Of course they did, but women, the burdens, right, of providing for a family wasn't on them. The high death rates, right, of society wasn't always on them. The only thing you have is like the birth rates, right? The risk of birth. But again, men quickly developed medical achievements to help that. But what can I say? Women didn't care. Women were stubborn and still wanted to fight against it, or at least the feminists, right? The feminists. Majority of women did not want feminism because they knew the drawbacks. They knew the repercussions.
Pregnancy is difficult. Childbirth is painful. There's no way of opting out. Even I can tell from experience, a planned C-section still necessitates a lot of suffering. There's no way through this which doesn't necessitate suffering. And in very traditional cultures, that's understood as the counterpart to.
I don't think it will be spamming. I don't think it's be spamming. I love it. I mean, I love you saying your opinions. I don't think it'd be spamming. I think if you like type all caps, that will be considered spamming.
Male burden of waging war and suffering by defending their community. The male warrior and the woman in childbirth are in some sense the counterparts to one another. These are your twin roles. But of course, men don't do that anymore in cultures like ours. So men have basically been excused the suffering traditionally.
Are you stupid? And women aren't dying during childbirth by the numbers. Yes, men aren't going to war, but yet women are not overwhelmingly dying during childbirth. I just kind of find it ridiculous. Medicine has made childbirth as easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but again, men have made childbirth as hopefully as easy as it could be. It's not like it's gonna magically just, teleport a baby out of you. But to say that, oh, because men aren't dying, but yet women still have to give birth. Yeah, but women aren't dying during childbirth. I'm sorry that you gotta go through the process. But this is the thing: women going through the process of being pregnant. That's also part of the bonding experience with a mother. I mean, okay, this is you see this argument. This woman is this feminist is touting out. Guess what's happening? Men are now creating incubators. Men are now devising ways to, house a baby without women. So look, you see the insanity? So men are trying to solve your problem, right? You wanted to complain, it's like, women still have to get pregnant. Okay. I bet. Men will change that shit too. And probably in the next 50 years, you won't even see a woman pregnant. In the next probably 50 to 100 years, you probably won't even see a woman getting pregnant. It will probably be an incubator. It will probably be in a test tube. Women don't want it, right? Women, let's even decrease women's roles even more. It's like, I agree. Women simply don't like child. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, the pregnancy process is literally one of the biggest bonding experience women can have, yet DA, we overturned Roe v. Wade. What you're talking about? What do you mean we you can't abort babies? It's like, that's what does that prove? Overturning Roe v. Wade, yes, now you can't abort babies like so easily. But it's like, this is the issue, right? Overturning Roe v. Wade is so the states decide. The states that you live in, that's the side. It's not saying that women can't abort children. No, it's to now give the states the power to do it. The state that you choose to live in. You can easily choose to go to any Democrat states. So we are just incubators. Well, that's what women think. It's like, here's a woman that's talking about, men don't go to war anymore, but women still give children. What do you want? It's like, are you kidding me? Women are drastically, childbirth is not as dangerous as women are trying to tout out. It's not. Plus, what do you want men to do about that? That is literally biology. That's literally nature. So it's like, and it's ridiculous. Do you not want that? It's like men's duty. Men don't want that, right? Men don't want to go to war. It's a duty men go to war, right? To serve, protect the nation and the people. Pregnancy, women choose it. So you make it seem like, it's like men don't go to war anymore. Women still get pregnant. Who forces you? No one's forcing you to go to get pregnant. And literally, pregnancy is it's a bonding experience for a mother and child. So what's your gripe? What's the point?
That they were burned with. And also men do less of a strange feature of the modern economy is that the jobs that men used to do, including around the home, are quite easy to automate. So we don't really need men to chop firewood anymore, for instance. But we
What automation is chopping firewood? I mean, I guess unless you're talking about you're buying it. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. Okay, this is the problem with a lot of these women like this. Guess what? You can't automate your protection. You can't. As the majority of women aren't firing guns, right? The majority of women ain't getting a robot to shoot it, right? Usually, you either die by the hands of a man, which women constantly tout out, or you call the police, another man, to protect you. You can't automate that. And the absolute insanity. The automation, that's the automation of women. All right? Cooking and cleaning, you can pay for that shit. You don't have to, it's like, no, you're not. Women are not, because literally, one of women's arguments is that men are dangerous. If men are so dangerous, how are you protecting yourself?
Do need women to do a lot of care work because that hasn't so far proved to be something that one can automate. So women look around and they see there are burdens that
What care work? What care work? Childcare? You can't outsource that as well. Automate, that's outsourcing. You can outsource your childcare. This is why, again, studies have shown that single fathers do better than single mothers. And I mean, yeah, men have no say in conceiving kids.
Tasked and presented with, which seem unfair to me. And rather than blame God, which would be one option, there's a desire to blame
Or Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Unfair. Biology is unfair to her. Bitch, are you stupid? Biology is this is the problem with feminism, right? This is the problem with feminism. The deep roots of feminism is things have to be fair. Bitch, you're stupid. I'm sorry. I'm being mean, but this is the problem with feminists. It is the ideology that the world has to be fair. That is absolutely asinine. I'm sorry. It is asinine. This is why I say feminism is the promotion of victimhood. The world isn't fair. Oh my God. It isn't fair. I hate it. The world is so not fair. Are you stupid? Whoever said the world should be fair? Whoever said that? It's like we can already agree. We can already agree where if men are stronger than women, that already proves that the world was never built on fairness. Nature has never been built on fairness. The concept of fairness, in my opinion, is a feminist ideology. The concept of fairness is a feminist ideology. That is so delusional. This is why the best thing that human could do, right? The best thing humans have done is equal of opportunity. But here's also the problem with women. They want equal of results. That's what women want. Women want equal results. Modern society has given people equal opportunity. The problem is that women and the victimhood mindset, they want equal results. That is the insanity. That is the insanity. That is the delusion. That is that you need to touch fucking grass.
That's right.
Again, the trad option.
Yes, right. But for many people, they think maybe this is a product of politics. Maybe this is patriarchy or whatever.
And, this is also, just like Omni said, this is why I do love feminism. Because today, you can be a sterile woman. You can be a woman with no kids ever. You could be a woman that will never have a kid. No one forcing a kid onto you. No one forces anything that you don't want to do. This is why I love feminism, right? Why, I'm glad that feminism did happen. Because at the very least, feminism is an accountability tool or accountability measure. Nobody forces a woman legally to have a kid she doesn't want. So you saying unfairness, bitch, you chose it. How is it more fair than you chose it? No one forced a child onto you. No one forced a child onto you. So you chose it. You chose having a kid. That's pretty fair.
And there's an attempt to try and solve the problem. And I think Tradwives, in a sense, they're doing that, right? Like, say, the position on childbirth, a popular view among people in the kind of Tradwife online space is, which of course is very Trad because it's deeply online. So there's a inherent contradiction there. But yes,
we're performing everywhere.
Yeah, right. Is that the reason that childbirth is painful and dangerous and difficult is because of modernity has ruined it. In some sense, the hospitals are the problem. That to sort of
again, this is dishonest, right? This is dishonest, right? What she just said. Let's just...
modernity has ruined it. And so the reason that childbirth is painful and dangerous and difficult is because of
painful, dangerous, and difficult. Here's the thing. Thanks to men have made it as easy as possible. I'm not saying it's easy as possible, as least painful as possible. Insanely low death rates. Okay, very low death rates. I think under 100, right? Under 100, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Also, here's the thing. This is why I'm trying to think about it. I just forgot. I don't know why. I just forgot it. I forgot what I wanted to say.
Modernity has ruined it. In some sense, the hospitals are the problem. That the sort of male-dominated. I actually wrote my thesis on this. That male-dominated obstetrics has wrested it from the traditional control of women, and this is why it's bad. And so you have things like free birthing emerging as a very small subculture, but this is where you give birth not only at home but without any assistance. You give birth on your own, in the hope.
You give birth on your own, and that is less painful and less dangerous. Oh, now I remember. Okay, it's funny that women are saying that it's more dangerous, it's more painful, but guess what? It is women choosing to have kids later in life, in their late 30s and 40s. Guess what that promotes? More lethality, more danger. So I thought women are complaining about unfairness. I thought women are complaining about the danger, the pain, the complications. I thought women are complaining. I thought this feminist was saying that, oh, you know, the patriarchy shit, or, you know, how dangerous pregnancy is. And yet, feminists, thanks to feminist ideology, women are giving birth less, which is okay, fine. But giving birth in their later years, in years that are more difficult, more disability, exactly, right? You are creating more complications for you and your baby. I thought there's a problem with danger, right? This is why women's argument is stupid. When your argument is, oh, you know what? Oh, giving birth is so dangerous. Right? Patriarchy shit, patriarchy that. And yet, when given your full autonomy, right? In today's age, women have full autonomy. When given full autonomy, women are choosing to give birth in a more dangerous time in their life, later years. So it seems like that isn't a problem, is it? It's like the analogies that I would give, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm so fearful for my life. I don't want to be in danger. I don't want to get beat up. I don't want to get killed. I'm so scared to get hurt. Yet I'm going to be an MMA fighter. I'm going to be a boxer. I'm so fearful of my life, fearful of injuries, but you know what? I want to be an MMA fighter. I want to be a boxer. Makes sense. That's female logic for you.
So maybe this solves the problem. And of course it doesn't. So
is she making that argument? She is. She's literally pointing out how dangerous pregnancy is for women. She's literally touting out how unfair life is for women. Okay. It's so unfair that women will do shit to what? To promote that unfairness? You literally are saying that pregnancy is a danger to women. One, it's not, the rates are so low, it's not even worth talking, in my opinion. But two, you are choosing full autonomy, choosing to give birth during a time that's dangerous to you and your child, and yet you're talking unfairness. You're talking about how dangerous pregnancy is, yet you are choosing to give birth during the worst time of your, of your life, the most dangerous time of your life. Makes zero sense.
These are wicked problems. They are just wicked problems. And I feel very sympathetic to women. And
I mean, this is a thing where, because men are doctors, you can also think women are, I don't know how women, I don't know the numbers of women outnumbering men as doctors. I gotta check that.
And of all of these different online generated subcultures who are sort of raging against the world and the unfairness of some of, there are problems that modernity can't completely solve. We live so much more comfortably and safely than any of our ancestors, but there is still pain, there is still social friction, there's everything.
Right.
And it can't really be solved. And
no, but wait, I'm going to ask you to solve them.
No, I didn't say teenage years. Usually women's primes are their 18 to 25. That's women's best. I mean, that's the women's best time for childbirth. The optimum time. That's women's optimum times. But studies are showing that women are choosing to give birth between their 30s to 40s. Okay. And closer to the 40s. Closer to their 40s. Like mid 30s to 40s. So women are not giving birth during their optimal time. They're giving birth during their closer to geriatric years.
But that's why you're here, right? I'm really interested in what you think.
Oh, also, pediatricians or, baby doctors are usually women. Okay? Women usually outnumber men in, baby family doctors. So these are women taking care of other women.
The models of improvement are. Is there a different culture that's imaginable in a world of the pill and the internet, right? Yeah. And I'm going to ask you to imagine it. You're in charge tomorrow, right? And we can start this as just what advice would you give to a young person, let's say going to college, going to university, right? We would say over here, going to university with, minimal romantic experience.
I'm sorry. Never get an advice from a feminist. Never get an advice from a feminist. Women shouldn't be in charge. Women can be a vice president, I guess, but women shouldn't be in charge.
Who's not sort of profoundly religious in a way that sort of sets a script for their sexual life. How should this hypothetical young person approach dating? Like, what is the system that should exist? I guess those are different questions. You can take it either way.
Well, I'll start by offering one concrete view, which is on contraception. I'm not completely opposed to contraception. I think, though, that women in particular should behave as if contraception doesn't exist. If you would not have sex with this man, if you weren't using contraception, then you should not have sex with him at all. I mean, in choosing the man rather than the moment, if this man wouldn't make a potentially good father to your children, then you shouldn't have a sexual relationship with him. I think I would absolutely say that to my sons as well. Right? But I'm not completely opposed to.
I'll give credit when credit is due. It's not terrible advice now. I mean, I was wrong. I mean, in general. I'm saying that in general. Okay, I'll clarify it. I'll say in general. But, I'll give her credit. I've never been that stubborn, right? I've never been that stubborn. I will give her credit. Credit where credit is due. That's a solid advice. I mean, is it sexist? I mean, I guess.
Contraception. And in fact, when the pill was first came on the market, it was available exclusively to married women as a means of spacing births. And actually, I think that is the key miraculous thing that hormonal contraception can do, is allow women to safely space births for the sake of their own health. Because having a baby every year is bad for your body. Maybe that's my concrete proposal, that you should use contraception within marriage rather than as a means of seeming to have consequence-free sex. But the problem is it isn't actually consequence-free. either physically, but also socially or psychologically.
I didn't know that. I didn't know contraception was primary for married women. That wouldn't have been, that kind of makes sense, or that's a good idea. So I can understand that. I didn't know that. So I learn a new thing every day.
In terms of the rest of it, I mean, I tend to think that this might be a problem that kind of solves itself.
I'm very, I'm I say what I say, but I'm not stubborn with the things I say. I don't think I'm stubborn, but I'll stand behind the things I say.
People are going to find in this.
Oh, Lisa Sue, she's made in that company. I'm so mad I didn't put money into AMD. I'm so mad. I'm so mad I didn't put money into AMD. I really, oh God. I mean, like I had AMD, right? I had AMD when it was like in the 40s. I sold it when it was like 70s or whatever. I wish I bought more.
The post-digital.
Oh, Red Door is amazing. She is a true, right? She is a true leader. Fighting feminism since the 70s. I love it.
Solution. There will be people and their subcultures that emerge who are able to solve these problems, who find solutions to not being completely so deranged by the internet that they can't form relationships with the opposite sex. Something that I'm noticing, at least as time goes by, is more and more people making efforts to log off and to reject being excessively online as a spontaneous recognition that it is deranging. So maybe more people will do that as time goes by, and those will be the people who find spouses and have children and pass on that culture.
Right. I want to dig in a little bit though on what that culture actually looks like, right? So you're basically arguing that we should have a culture of greater sexual restraint, in which people try to have sex primarily with people who they consider prospective mates.
Yeah.
So in this world, just to imagine it, there is still premarital sex.
Probably not.
There's no premarital sex.
I don't know. I'm not. I thought in this book about just saying.
So now we're becoming very reactionary here. No,
well, is it reactionary? It is obviously completely intuitive to say. So a woman having sex is, in some sense, is one of the most consequential things that she can do, because if she gets pregnant by this man, all the options are difficult, and particularly, I mean, something I think we forget about abortion. Up until recently, up until the 60s and 70s, abortion was not just illegal, it was very dangerous. There wasn't really a safe way of having an abortion. So for all of our female ancestors, your options if you get pregnant and you don't want to be are all very difficult. Of course, given that, you should take very seriously indeed who you have sex with and when. And of course, it makes sense to say that you'll only cross this line once the man has been approved by your family and community in some sense, and also has made a costly and public declaration of commitment to you. And one way of doing costly and public.
You hear what she just said? You hear what she said? That right there, that concept, what she just said, that was a society what men created for women. Men knew that having children was costly for women. Men knew that. So men created a society to recognize that cost. Men created a society to recognize that cost. Her family had to vet you. Her family had to vet you. That's traditional values. Her family had to vet you. You had to declare your commitment to her publicly, legally. Men have literally created the framework with the idea to protect women. Guess who fought against it? Women. This is why I say women cannot be leaders. This is why I say that women, on average, in general, aren't logical. They are the worst enemies. They are their worst enemies. That is why I said today, excuse me, in modern day, feminism is the root of evil, is the root of our problems. Women should be fighting against feminism. All right. Women should be fighting against feminism, not men. I mean, men should too, but women should be the primary fighter against feminism. Feminism has ruined the world for women. Ruined the world for women. High depression rates. Women have high depression rates. Women attempt self-deletion rates much more than men. Women are more on antidepressant medicines, right? Some or mental issues. Women report more mental issues. Women are, predominantly in psychiatric care, therapy care. Are women actually happy in today's age where women are more free than ever before? Not really.
Declarations of commitment is through marriage.
Right. So you've read, but I have many questions. So first, in our world, this world, right, where there is contraception, there is the birth control pill, there will be, unknowable technologies around, in the future surrounding reproduction, right? There is the internet, there is sort of a degree of just sort of generally individualism and social liberalization that's connected with technological change and economic change and so on. It isn't going away. In that world, is it imaginable to have that kind of stringent norm outside of, again, sort of an intense religious community?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think the religious is going to inherit the earth for multiple reasons.
But so then in the future, you were suggesting, right, that this kind of ethic returns via just the return of religiosity, because religiosity is what yields people having children, right?
Yeah.
But earlier, you were saying that feminists, progressives, people who are, if they are religious or not, religious traditionalists, should wish for a world where their own ideas sort of flourish and continue. So what are they?
That's the stupidity of it. I'm not religious, but the problem is for Western culture, religion is what gave people a moral framework. Because when you follow your own morals, it's usually flawed. It really is. Because you're stupid. I'm sorry. Human beings generally are stupid. We are selfish. We easily fall for degeneracy, for immoral things. Easily. We're very tempted. We are very tempted easily to degeneracy, to immoral things. So without the frameworks of religion, the boundaries of religion, the shackles of religion, you will do stupid things. You will do immoral things. You will do degenerate things. Plus, the problem is that you have your ideology, that person have theirs, usually doesn't mix well.
They are, someone who's listening to this conversation who considers himself a liberal feminist, right, and wants to have an ethic around sex that leads to good relations, are you just saying learn from the conservative Christians?
I'm going to draw a distinction between feminist and progressive.
That's fine.
So I favour a very broad definition of feminism, politics for women, qua women, okay. And specifically, I think politics that recognises the inherent vulnerability of women and therefore the fact that there needs to be a sort of rebalancing in some sense to account for that vulnerability. That's not at odds with being religious, I don't think. But obviously, some religions are better or worse for women in that sense. And the thing that and where the liberal feminist watching and I completely agree is that I don't want Gilead, or there are various real world examples of this. I don't want a world in which women are completely subservient to men and have no it's not even just the ability to work, although that's important, it's the ability to do things like, one thing that I really appreciate about living in the modern feminist society that I do is things as basic as the ability to swim in public. I'm also Australian. Australia has a real swimming culture, and it occurred to me recently that the beach culture that Australia has is so modern and so fragile because it specifically relies on the ability to share common space without conflict, but also the right of women to wear scanty swimsuits, to go into the sea safely without being harassed. And that's the sort of thing that is potentially imperiled by the failure of feminist societies to reproduce them. themselves, and I'm using feminist in the most expansive way possible.
But that culture is itself connected to permissive norms around sexuality that allow people who are teens and early 20s, to say nothing of, you know, the elder people, right? But they're not married. They want to have sex with someone. They have sex with them in, I think, the same spirit that you might wear a string bikini to an Australian beach, right? It seems to me very hard to say we're going to have.
I kind of think so. What I've heard, I mean, like, again, I don't, you know, I don't live in Australia, but what I've heard from, you know, Australian, you know, men, take it with a grain of salt, is that there's extreme feminism in Australia. That's what I've heard. Okay, so I want to look it up, right?
And so fragile because it specifically relies on the ability to share common space without conflict. Is that I don't want Gilead, or, you know, there are various real world examples of this. I don't want a world in which women are completely subservient to men and have no it's not even just the ability to work, although that's important.
Omni, you're going ahead. I was gonna talk about that.
It's the ability to do things like, you know, one thing that I really appreciate about living in the modern feminist society that I do is things as basic as the ability to swim in public.
You see why I hate feminists? You see why I hate feminists? So I looked it up. Let's test out. Let's test out her claim. No, the claim is significant exaggeration or myth. Women went to beaches and entered water long before modern feminism. What existed in Western society, especially Victorian Britain, Europe, and similar places, were strict modesty rules, not blanket bans on beaches and swimming. Oh, so you can't wear a fucking thong? That's the feminist movement? You couldn't fucking overly sexualize yourself like you're a fucking whore, like you're a 304. Is that's the modern freedom you're fighting for? That you couldn't wear a thong, that you couldn't show cleavage, your ass crack. That's what you're fighting for. That's the feminist feminism you're fighting for women to have a thong on, for women to be overly sexualized, because, right, women were always allowed to be on the beach or swim. It wasn't a ban. But modesty is like such a terrible thing in a world where women complain about being sexualized. You're saying that, oh my God, we couldn't sexualize ourselves. Such a terrible thing. You see how the stupidity of feminism is?
I'm also Australian. Australia has a real swimming culture. And it occurred to me recently that the beach culture that Australia has is so modern and so fragile because it specifically relies on the ability to share common space without conflict, but also the right of women to wear scanty swimsuits, to go into the sea safely.
Wear scantily. So for women to sexualize themselves, and this is the thing. I've said this before. I said this is why I say feminism is just honestly anti-women, or don't care about women. Men have created a world where women won't, as best as it can. Nothing's perfect. But men try to create a world where women won't be sexualized. Because let's be honest, even if a woman has, a hoodie on, sweats on, they could still be sexualized. But there's degrees to it. A woman that has a hoodie, laughing man, thank you for the love. A woman that has a hoodie and sweats on, the level of sexualization compared to a woman in a thong, I mean, men planned it out. Good men planned it out. They know that, you know what? Yeah, you probably will be sexualized even if you wear a hoodie, but there's levels to it. You'll probably be more sexualized. You'll probably be more advertised. And to be honest, it's like, oh my God, it's so nothing bad happened to women because now they can wear thongs and shit like that. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And you make it seem like so much bad things were happening before. What the fuck are you comparing shit to?
about being harassed. Like, that's the sort of thing that is potentially imperiled by the failure of feminist societies to reproduce themselves.
Exactly. They want the safety whilst rushing towards the danger line in the sand. This is why the mindset is unfair. They want things to be fair. Do whatever you want with no consequences. Do whatever you want, no consequences whatsoever. Absolutely. It's like, I can steal shit, but you know what? I don't want to go to prison.
And I'm using feminist in the most expansive way
Yes,
possible.
but that culture is itself connected to permissive norms around sexuality that allow people who are teens and early 20s, to say nothing of, elder people, right? But they're not married. They want to have sex with someone. They have sex with them in, I think, the same spirit that you might wear a string bikini to an Australian beach, right? It seems to me very hard to say we're going to have a society where there's an ideal of sexual chastity that is at least somewhat equivalent to the ideals in the traditional past, and also have Australian beaches.
Yeah. I'm trying to be a centrist, Ross.
No, I know.
I know, but it's genuinely difficult.
Or to take another example, right? I think that it is plausible.
She's trying to toe the line. But this is the problem, okay? When women toe the line, they're still left-leaning. That's why I said that's why I said the whole Tradwife thing, the whole conservative thing, it's honestly a lie. It's honestly a lie. I don't think modern women can honestly be traditional. I don't think so. Feminism has rooted themselves into modern day women. So you can never, in my opinion, majority of women can never be true traditionalists. They can't. They absolutely can't, because women cannot escape from that, feminist ideology.
To imagine a world that had an ethic of chastity around sex that was also comfortable with women succeeding in the workforce.
Yeah.
I think you can separate those things, but I think it's understandable that historically feminists look and say, we had the ethic of chastity in a society that used it to control women, tell them that they shouldn't go to college, or they should only go to college to meet a husband, and so on. And the fact that two things came in together.
I don't know if this is the stupidity, right? Chastity wasn't because, don't go to college. No. Chastity for women was to really protect women from their own stupidity. Because here, this is the problem. We can look at the results today. We can see the results from when women were chaste to what women are now not chaste. We can see the results today. Women with higher body counts, more trauma, right? More trauma, higher levels of unhappiness, later marriage rates, right? They marry later and marry less. Less women are marrying. And if they do marry, they marry later in life. Women are having less kids. And if they do have kids, they have kids closer to their geriatric years. So we can compare the results today. The high level of unhappiness to when women were chaste. Hey, we're going to compare the trauma levels of women today to women of the past.
Historically, doesn't prove that they go together, but it's an indicator, right? Like, can you separate those things?
I don't know. And I also another strong argument against the reactionary feminist position is to say that we might like it if everyone sort of spontaneously realized that, particularly in a world with the pill.
100%. Fathers were protecting their daughters. Now fathers are just letting little girls be feminists. Don't bother with a husband. Don't bother with finding a good man. Just get your degree. Be a strong, independent self. Fuck that shit. You're just pushing your daughter down a path of self-destruction.
That it is better for you if you basically adopt soft trad norms of your own volition. But realistically, if you look at every period of the past, really, the way that this actually gets enforced is through something like slut shaming and through sexual double standards.
Yes.
Is it
Bring it back. Bring back slut shaming. Bring it back. Bring back slut shaming. I'm sorry. You should be ashamed. You should be shamed for giving your body to just a whole bunch of men. You should. So I see no wrong. I see no wrong in it.
Possible to have, and I don't like those things. I would rather, women not suffer like that. Is that possible? I don't really know. I'm not sure if I have. I can offer critique. I'm not sure if I can be the architect of an entirely new. So
that is why men lead. I'll be straightforward. Bring back slut shaming. Bring back slut shaming. Bring back shame. What is so wrong with being shameful? It stops you from doing degenerate shit. We should shame men too. We should shame men as well. It goes both ways. It was shameful. It was shameful for men to, be degenerates as well.
Social culture.
Okay. But in terms of evolutions, right?
Yeah.
Like this is why I guess you went straight to very strict norms when I asked you, right?
I don't think
and when you go straight to strict norms, it immediately raises all the questions that I've just pushed at you, including questions about what happens to gay and lesbian people under these conditions, where the sexual landscape and incentive structure is very different, and again, where an ethic of chastity was associated with profound hostility to homosexuality, right? All of these questions immediately come up, and if you don't have an answer for them, is there a gradualist position where you would say, look, you could have a society where people were understood to have sex before marriage, but there was a kind of ethic around it that said casual sex is bad.
I hope so. I mean, so the one thing I'd quibble with is strict norms. Like, I don't think that a social disapproval of premarital sex counts as straight. Historically, for instance, it was quite common for brides to be pregnant on their wedding day because often they would have sex once they got engaged.
Right.
There's always, history is messy in this sense. The problem, though, of course, with trying to, and this is the challenge always of the conservative, of trying to defend any kind of historical society, is that people will always point to the trade-offs of that model and the bad things about that society,
right? Which
are absolutely true.
But that's why I'm pushing you on to what extent can post-1950s norms be preserved around, there's the list is just extremely long, right? Of things that you could throw in, questions around consent in marriage and marital rape, right? How much of that is in the end compatible in some near future or far future with an ethic of sexual restraint? And to what extent is there just this fundamental tension that we're dealing with, where you can have female emancipation or you can have sexual restraint, but you can't have both?
Well, I hope that's not true. And I would say that female emancipation is on the spectrum. So one can imagine, because they have existed, societies where women have, say, the right to vote, but also there are clear default templates for having children, and it's considered eccentric not to, for instance. Like that seems to be possible. Whether or not that's possible long term, I guess, is the bigger question, because it does seem as if there's a tendency to have a ricocheting between more permissive and more restrictive sexual cultures. And maybe that's where we are right now. When I wrote the book in 2021, I wrote at the end, at the moment, millennial liberal feminism is riding high, but I wonder if there might be a reaction, and there might be, you hear these Tradwives, etc. on the internet, maybe this is going to be something more substantive. And I think that has happened, and there has been a significant rebellion against the liberal feminist assumptions of, say, the Me Too moment.
But it seems to me that both in sort of the Tradwife phenomenon and in the more male masculinist, a fundamental unrealism about the kind of society that we live in and how it could plausibly evolve. You're not just going to say, now it's 1955 again, right? That's not going to happen.
My view was, the problem with feminism is that they want to turn things 180, flip it on its head, instead of improving on existing shit. This is my problem with modern day society. Okay, my problem with modern day society is that the problem is that you want to change it instead of improve on it. I've always felt that certain parts of American history, American whenever, right, was good, just wasn't good enough. That's my problem. The problem when other people saw it, it wasn't good at all. So we need to do something different. So one example is that parenting. I think strict parenting is a good thing. I just think that improving on it is that we make a clear distinction between abuse and discipline. That's the problem. We make a thing where you should not be friends with your kids, but you should be able to talk to your kids. That's the thing. So that's the problem I find with modern day society. They want to flip things on its head. Oh, you know what? Back then it was abuse. Now we're not gonna discipline our kids at all. Right? Take away their iPad. That's a discipline. It's fucking nothing. Oh my God, you know what? Oh, back then it was like, oh, parents never talk to their kids at all, or parents don't understand their kids. Now I want to be friends with my kids. I'm going to smoke with my kids. I'm going to smoke and drink with my kids. I'm going to take my kids to a party. It's like, are you seriously? Are you seriously stupid? That's what I'm talking about, where I believe shit was good. Right? Things were good. It just wasn't good enough. It was flawed. So the problem is that we should have improved on it instead of just changing it completely. So the thing is, like, let's say hypothetically, okay? Hypothetically, marriage, in my opinion, was good in the sense that, let's say men provide, women, whatever, women, did the housework, childcare. Improve on it is that, you know what? Women do a bit more jobs, right? Do bit part-time jobs to bring in a little bit more money, and give more time for fathers to be more part of their kids' lives. It's just improve on existing good systems. They're good systems. It's just that make it better. That's it. Not just fucking turn it on its head.
So what would be your argument from a feminist perspective to people who are like,
Evil Eddie, what is up, my brother? What is up?
What's she doing calling herself a feminist, right? Feminism is, terrible and responsible for every evil in society, and we just need to bring back patriarchal authority.
100%. 100%. It's evil. It's evil.
Why should they care to preserve things that feminism has won?
I think it is good for women to be educated and to have minds of their own, and to be one of the things that we have learned from the sexual revolution is that women actually do have remarkable capacities to actually outshine men in some.
It's like, this is a thing where I personally think it's stupid to think that women back in the day didn't have minds of their own. The problem is that at the end of the day, you can still have a mind of your own and follow the leadership of a man, because at the end of the day, he should be leading the relationship. He should be making the decision, because the problem is, if you have a mind of your own and you're stubborn about it and you expect him to be a leader, how is that going to fucking work? You're fighting on everything. You will never solve any issue. You wonder why, right? You wonder why our government system is fucking in shambles. We have Democrats, we have Republicans. They never agree on a single thing. Democrats and Republicans never or rarely ever agree on anything. So we never get anything passed. Nothing really gets passed in our government. So that's the problem. I'm sorry. In a relationship, I'm not saying it should be a necessary dictatorship, but it probably should be a benevolent dictatorship where you listen to your wife's counsel. You listen to your wife's counsel. But at the end of the day, you make the final decisions. That should be the patriarchy.
In some professional contexts, women are actually just as capable as men.
You're coming from the cottage. I love it. Hey, I get it. You take some time outside of the internet and shit. That is a great mindset. It reinvigorates you, resets you. So totally.
of using their intellectual capacities. It is a real shame for society, aside from the interest of those women, it's a real shame for society to lose that. I would say that that's true. It's also the case that professional life.
Is it? In the last, let me say this, in the last 50 to 60 years, right, since feminism, so how has society been improved? What has feminism actually done for society improvements in totality? I'm not saying like we just talked about Lisa Sue, great for AMD. I'm not saying that women have done zero, but in totality, AMD is really just a footnote. You know, it's barely a footnote in society. Okay, I'm sorry, AMD isn't Tesla. Okay, because AMD isn't Lisa Sue, as great as she isn't Elon Musk. She isn't Elon Musk. Elon Musk will be a bigger footnote in human history than Lisa Sue would be. I'm sorry, it is. Okay? Elon Musk would be a bigger footnote in society, in history, than Lisa Sue would be. So, what has feminism actually done substantially? Done for society? What has it done for society? Besides, in my opinion, perpetuate victimhood, perpetuate division between men and women, victimhood between races. What has feminism done? Hell, controversially, feminism, in my opinion, has pushed the trans movement to what it is. Has pushed I could just name you terrible shit. I could just name you bad shit. So feminism, really, what has it done? What has it done? Increase the divorce rates, decrease the marriage rates, decrease the birth rates. I mean, I can continue naming you the bad outcomes, I believe, thanks to feminism. What has feminism actually done for society? Nothing.
Life is at odds at certain crucial moments with motherhood, and that for women to entirely imitate the male life course will often be.
I mean, I guess, okay, but it's like I never thought schmeck would be a good thing anyway. Free, it's like I'm not that kind of person, so it only benefits, in my opinion, those types of men.
At odds with having children at all, and so there has to be a point at which that kind of gives way, and there has to be some size of compromise. But
why is it good for the man?
I guess cheap labor,
and to help figure out those balances, because that's what certainly, like, that's what I tried to do in my own marriage, right? It's like you are trying as a man in the 21st century, conservative man, but not a masculinist influencer, right?
Yeah.
You are trying to find a balance that enables my own wife to be professionally fulfilled while also having kids, and it is a balance. There's no simple solution, right? But why is that good?
Happy wife, happy life.
Oh, fuck.
Sometimes I've heard that, yes.
Yeah.
The most stupidest is absolutely idiotic. Absolutely idiotic. Happy wife, happy life is one of the most selfish terms ever. Literally, it doesn't prove happiness for a man at all. A happy woman does not equate a happy man.
That seems compelling to me. Do you want, as a man, to have to
F that shit? Exactly. F that shit. Exactly.
Manage an unhappy, subservient wife? I think probably not.
And if you did, that would be itself bad, right? That would
reflect your lack of virtue.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that is one reason too. It seemed.
This is why I said it. Okay. Although this woman could say certain interesting things I could probably get aboard, the feminist ideology is never far away. Right? The feminist ideology is never far away. So she is a feminist, right? She is a feminist, but that's the thing. Women will never escape that. To say happy wife, happy life literally ignores a man whatsoever. His happiness means nothing. As long as she's happy, it's a supposed happy life. supposed, because that never addresses if he's happy or not. It never addresses if he's happy or not.
It seems I'm pro-marriage, not only because it's a means for having children and so on, but also because I think one remedy, potentially, or the remedy that I take in my own life at least, to the battle of the sexes is to look at the differences that clearly exist between men and women. And rather than read them as antagonistic, read them as charming and interesting and funny. And there is no better arena in which to learn that than in marriage, and to become genuinely fond of the opposite sex. That seems a very important step on the road towards men and women getting along. And again, that seems to be obviously in the interest of both men.
You know, back in my day, my beta years, right? My beta years, I was indoctrinated, right? I was indoctrinated by that saying. I thought that was true. I thought that was true, right? I thought that was true. So I believe a lot of men believe that. Right? A lot of men grew up with that. So what we did is that we thought we did everything we can to make the woman happy, only to experience that you focus on her. She doesn't mean that she will focus on you. All right? That only means that you focus on her happiness does not guarantee her focusing on you. What it guarantees is that you focus on her. That's it. All right? The happy wife, happy life thing only guarantees that you focus on her. It never guarantees that you focus on yourself or that she focus on you. It doesn't guarantee that. Men have been poisoned by that ideology. I've suffered from that, where I put all my efforts onto her. I thought if she's happy, I will be happy. Because you would think that if you make her happy, she would care about your happiness. That ain't fucking true at all. That ain't true at all. Because then she only cares about her happiness. That's the fact.
Women to have good marriages.
And you probably can't achieve that to the necessary and proper degree if you start with an assumption of fundamental inequality, right? That there is a way that this is right. That this is the key inside of feminism, is to say that all good things flow from some assumption, not of interchangeability, but some assumption of male and female equality.
I think that's
you're
true.
Marrying an equal.
Yeah. I guess the reason why reactionary feminism may never find a large popular audience is that I think I just have quite a tragic outlook on these questions. Maybe this is my instinctive conservatism, like temperamental conservatism. I don't think that there are, at scale, clear solutions. But I think at the individual level, they can.
Laughing man, you have a great memory. This is why you keep me in check. This is why I love you. All right, you keep me in check. You could be my memory for me. I have terrible memory. So thank you for reminding me of shit.
I think one good thing to say for our current era is that if you have sufficient agency and strength of will, you can almost have it all, pretty much. We all have the capacity actually to resist all of the negative trends that we've spoken about today, which maybe wasn't so true for our ancestors. So in that sense, maybe the modern choice is available to us.
The only benefit of feminism, in my opinion, okay, the only benefit of feminism is that now women can't blame men. I mean, women do blame men, right? Women do blame men, but what would be a counter to it is that, aren't you equal to a man? Don't you have the same rights as a man? No man has any right that you don't have. So what do you mean, bitch? That's the benefit of today. That's the benefit of feminism. Women are and held accountable for their own actions. This is why I have this channel. To show you that women are the problems of their own life, not men. Men are not the problem. Men are not the problem of women's lives. Women are. That's why I have this channel. That's why I make the content I make. To show you that, to break the women's lies. And I broke some of them. I broke some of these lies today. I showed you. Okay? The lies that these feminists love to tout. I've been breaking them left and right. So that's why I do the shit I do. They don't want equality. They want superiority. 100%. 100%. My brothers and sisters, I love you. Guys, that is it for tonight. I love you guys. Okay. Oh shit. Zyrax, what happened to you?
Sorry, I got stuck, doing mommy duty. So sorry.
Okay, understandable. You know, being a mother comes first.
Yes, a baby mama at that. Yes.
Is that? Are you kidding? Are you true? I could have swore you said you had a husband.
I guess it depends what you mean by like married. I guess legally. Well, you guys don't do legal marriages too, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. Are you with the child, the father of your child?
Yes.
What the hell are you talking about, baby mama? Just because you're not married to him?
No, legally.
Girl, come on. I'm Asian. Fucking, what the hell is wrong with you?
I know.
What the hell are you? I was defending you, and you're making like you're not no baby mama. Girl, I'm like, am I wrong? I could have swore that was not true. Oh, girl, you know what, Zyrax? I don't know what you're doing. You're making me like going crazy. Come on, you know, like I'm Asian as well. I know we do a lot of shady shit. I know we do some shit. I mean, like I'm not trying to, spot out our communities, things. But come on, girl. What the hell?
I know, which is why I refer to him as my husband. But in other communities, they would call me a baby mama.
You know who we're talking about? You're being disingenuous. Yes. You know who. I mean, like seriously, my brother's like that. It's like I have plenty of people know that. Come on, us Asian people, we work the system. It's not like
It's one of the things I do want to that I'm glad that I found your channel, because I do want to talk a little bit about that, because
go ahead.
Are you for marriage?
Am I for marriage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I support marriage. Yeah, I believe we should get married.
Because you know how like in different in different communities like you have the I think they're called Orthodox Christians, the Andrew Wilsons. They're heavily for marriage, right? Legally married. And one of and marriage in this day and age, it's hard to advocate for marriages, which is understandable, because of the child support, the court system and stuff like that. Like I get it, but I think that's just a poor excuse though to not want to get married.
Well, but Asian people, we get married for logical reasons. I mean, like we don't really hold men on child support. I mean, it's not the same. Asian people get married for reasons that make sense, not because necessarily we're confined to religion.
Okay, what do you think it is that because we don't have like anything say if we were living back back in like our parents country and stuff, because they don't have laws, right, like child support laws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so but then they were able to keep it together. Now here in America they have so do you think it's because of the written laws and stuff that's why
no, because this is the thing because Asian people are different. Okay, we believe in family. We believe in the importance of family. We know that having a 2-parent household is the best case scenario. It is right. Not. It's never a smart thing to go about things alone. Okay, even women who are single mothers in Asian communities, they know they have to, or not have to, but they try their best to still find someone to get married with. Unlike women here, if you're a single mother, they just like, okay, fine, I'll just stay a single mother. That's not the Asian community. We know that it is not the best, because we care about the family, we care about the kids. So we will again, the Asian community understands sacrifice. We are not. No, the Asian community is not. This is why I love America. I love America, but one of the things I hate about America, and it's kind of slowly poisoning the Asian community, is that we're not selfish. We're not so individualistic like other Americans are. We are very communal, very just very family oriented. We think past ourselves. We think about our kids. We think about our partners. We think about our community. We think about our country. So we are more than just ourselves. Unlike Americans, they're very individualistic.
See, here's one of the things is that I know that I recognize that Asians, we don't value uh we don't value quantity, as in choice, a lot of choice, variety, right? We tend, Asians for the most part, it's like, you do this, it works, just stick to it.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Okay.
Yeah, I agree. We don't necessarily fix what's broken, or
Yeah.
fix what's working. If it's working, we'll just keep it.
Now, one of the reasons why, the difference between America and, say, our culture is that, we, like, when it comes to wanting to, like, say you get married, and you're thinking about wanting to divorce, your spouse, right? Now, if say, there's nothing to hold, now if you're married legally, you have that legal paper to hold you down, right? Asian, majority Asian cultures, we don't even have that to hold us down, but yet we stay, we're able to hold ourselves down, and I think that's due to family pressure. So do you think that that's could be like a good? I don't think that. See, do you think that's a good substitute?
To be honest, I do. I think that this is a thing where Asian people are very, you probably will recognize it. We're very about pride. Very, like, my mom is always talking about, her face, the pride.
Yeah.
And, we're like that.
This is the family, yes.
Exactly. So to be honest, I think that is a good thing. Okay. Because I find it like, I get this a lot, pushback. Okay. So like, oh, I don't represent my community. I'm sorry. You do. You do. You represent more than just you. This is why I was just talking about it, where, we don't, Asian people don't believe in individualism to the same degree as Americans or the West. We don't believe in that. So, and to be honest, I think that's a good thing.
Me too. I'm a big believer in, I don't like, individualism, because that's how, communities end up breaking up.
Correct.
People want to do their own thing because they could, I don't need the community. I could work and I could take care of my own. And so that's why, we have these problems that we have. And so that's why, like, I don't,
you look at our community. We have the highest marriage rates, the lowest divorce rates, the lowest abortion rates. You could see the Asian ideology succeeding in America. You can see it. The only reason why it's hard to succeed in our own countries, our parents, our grandparents, is because of the system. Okay, it's not because of the culture. It's because of the system. But you can see when we bring that culture into other nations, it's succeeding. It's surpassing, the majority of the nation. So this is why I don't fight it. I think this is why I would love for more Asian people to follow my thing, and because I would love to promote it, because I think, to be honest, I think that would benefit other communities.
Yeah, but the West America, we value freedom or individualism more than what's best for the country, or it's best for the family or whatever. It's your life. You do what's best for you. And so until until Americans value have those values, then I don't think I can see why, like, men don't want to get married and women don't want to have kids and get married too.
But here's maybe you will fight me on this one. America once did have the same kind of similar ideology, but that's when feminism came into birth. It, in my personal opinion, feminism is what birthed modern American individualism, in my opinion, because this was the time where women wanted to separate from traditional mindset, traditional values. this is why I've said this. I think feminism has always been a white women's sport. Okay, because other communities were doing exactly what feminists tout about: working, educated. I mean, like women had to do like. Me personally, I know in my Asian community, Asian families, women had to do all the things that feminism was touting about. Right? They had to work, they had to provide, they had to, you know, be, you know, leaders of their community as well. But I think feminism has turned it into, it's not just wanting to improve on things, it just wanted to turn things on its head, where women want power, not equality.
See, I think you guys are using, you know, feminism as a like sort of like a scapegoat, because I don't think feminism is like the root problem. The root problem is, you know, capitalism. It's choices. Yeah, it's choices, because when you don't know any better, right? You're able to just stay on the path. But when you see that there's a plethora of options and you're allowed to go test those options, our curiosity nature is gonna make us want to test option, you know, test out. If we don't test it out, then we have this fear of missing out. And that's why, and then it causes us to, you know, to get depressed or to feel some sort of way, and then that starts to break down, you know, a relationship.
Because this is the problem, where maybe, because again, I'm probably biased. I use the Asian community as a benchmark, where the Asian community can come into a capitalistic nation and make it work. So I don't think, I've never thought capitalism was the problem. I think capitalism is the best system. It's a flawed system. I'm not, no doubt about it. But I think it's the best system. The problem, in my opinion, isn't the system itself. It's how you're using it. It's how.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I just think
yeah.
that's the thing.
I'm not saying that, you know, capitalism is bad, because it has lifted up nations.
Yeah.
So you can't say that it's, you know, bad.
How
But then, you know, but then I think America, we've reached a point where, you know, we don't have to promote it. We don't need, you know, 50 different brands of cereal that, you know, causes our kids to have blood pressure. Blood sugar, you know, high blood sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is our government allowing that? We don't need 50. Like I said, maybe even more than 50. It's like maybe up to 100. I don't know, brand. Like, do we need that? No, we don't. You know, they're adding stuff in our food. See, there's like a lot of different factors. And sometimes I feel like, you know, it's just easier to blame feminism, because women, you know, we got big mouths, you know.
Because again, you think about this, okay? I think is that the problem is that, again, this is the problem, right? I always use the Asian community as the benchmark. Asian people don't fall for that shit. Asian people don't fall for that shit. And the thing is that, even if in a world, in a nation where there are a lot of options, Asian people create their own options and stick to it. Asian people aren't falling for, like the example you said, like 15 brands. No, they know the one brand they like and they stick with it. Right? This is it is the problem where, I think this is where I say feminism is to blame. There's a framework. There's culture. There's, you know, we respect elders. We don't think about ourselves. Okay, we care about our kids. We care about our moms, our dads, our community. So it's not just about ourselves. So we have to think about the best for ourselves and our family and the community. Where I say feminism is the problem is that it's like you have to be different. It's like you have to have as much options as possible. And I think that's kind of feminism, where you want options, right? Before is the option, go to college or have a family. It's like the creation of options.
Who did mostly the creation? Men.
Well, but this is the thing. It was a framework. It was an easy, because this is the thing with the Asian community.
Like, you guys keep introducing new options, not us.
No, but it was a strict framework. There was a path. And I said this early in this video, is that, in my opinion, I believe men created a nation not for men, but for women, so it can be as straight path as possible. Okay, we formed the world where it wouldn't be such a detriment to women in general. Okay, of course there will be outliers. Maybe some women will suffer, some women won't. But it's to be as fair, or as I don't know, more like as comfortable as possible. But there was a select minority, which is the first wave feminism, that they wanted to create their own path. They wanted to create options for them to have. And
I get what you're saying, because see, and that's the tricky part. That's where there's a why we have to have balance in everything, right? Because I don't want to say we shouldn't have a lot of choices, because in a way saying that will it's like saying it's like oh, you can't be creative. It's like stifling creativity and stuff like that. So I don't want I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying that if if we're trying to solve like some of the problems, or reel some of the stuff back, and trying to get a hold on a certain, I think that there's certain stuff that we need to to shut down. There's some stuff that we need a little bit more of. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's just feminism.
no, here's the thing where, let me give it pushback, right? I think that the world was always the world isn't as terrible as a lot of feminists always tout out. I don't know if you can agree with this, but I think people in general, average people in general, I think that too much options is not good for people.
I know.
Yeah. So like there was I forgot her name, but the woman who created Frankenstein. Okay. The problem is that the thing is that shows you that if you are a special person, there will always be options for you. The problem is most people aren't special. Most people are average as shit. And in some cases, most people are stupid. So to be honest, it's like, this is why the world is like, we want to shelter the stupid. But thanks to certain, activism or whatever, we open the door to everyone. And to be honest, I never thought it was a good thing. Because if you were special, if you were the different, right? If you're the one in a 1,000 woman, or 1 in a million woman, the world is open for you. Because to be honest, before feminism, women still could go to college, but it wasn't for every single woman. And we can look at the studies. Every single woman, or the majority of women, aren't going to colleges that actually benefit them. They're doing degrees that honestly will only give them debt, and like a degree that they don't even use after they go out of college. So that kind of shows you that things weren't meant for every single person. It was only meant for the special ones. Because if you were a smart woman, an outlier, the one that's a woman that's 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 1,000,000, the world can benefit you. But we changed that where, okay, now it's for everyone. And I just think that was never a good thing for people in general. Right? I think Asian culture is literally that kind of example. Right? If you are a special person, Asian community, you can be the outlier. But we know that you got to conform.
Everybody work, so everybody just do, yeah, you just want everybody to be like what is that movie? Like, what is that movie where like everybody just does the same? Pleasantville, I think that's what it's called.
I mean, yeah.
Just black and white like that.
I think that I don't mean it's like, because we live in a world where you could find a little color, right? You could have a little color in your life. But yes, I think in general, it's just this is the problem where we live. This is why it's the individualistic. Okay, everyone in everyone's mind, there are 10. When honestly, you're not. We're just fives. We're average people.
Yes,
we live in a world where everyone thinks they're a 10, and I just, you could sprinkle in a little bit of a 6, a 7, but we're mostly average. And I just think this mindset of grandeur is more of a detriment than a positive, because we can see through life, right? We can see how the life of modern day men and modern day women. We are more depressed than ever before. And why? We're more free than ever before. But more people are suffering from mental illness than ever before in recorded history. So is that a good thing? I think too much option is probably not.
That's what I'm saying. So keep people working so that way they don't have to think. Is that what you're saying?
No, this is a little bit extreme for them to have to think. But I think to give them
you're working, you're not really worried about all
it's
these.
A better framework. It's give them an easier framework, because this is a thing where like we could say like the Asian community. Okay, it's a simple framework, right? You can work, have a family, have a husband, have a kid, have a wife, have kids. Easy framework. Have a whatever job. Cool. But you kind of misinterpret, right? Maybe, hopefully, right? This is your little bit of spice. This is your little bit of color in your life. Even though you have a kid, you have a husband, right? It's very, very typical, very, a straight path. But then you add a little flavor, a little debate, on one couple nights a week or whatever. That's a little spice.
Exactly.
That's a little color, right? That's the thing, right? So Zyrax, you're being dishonest, right? This is reality. People, it's very strict. It's a really clean path, but there's a little bit of rocks in your path, a little bit of speed bump. So that's how life could be. That's how life is. But we make it where there's so many paths in life where you don't know what you're doing. This is probably why we're having an increase of depressed men, depressed women, because I'll even go for men. So many men don't know what they're doing in life. They don't know what they should do. They don't know what they don't know nothing. They're unguided. They're directionless. And that's the problem. I believe most people can't handle all these different paths because they don't know what to do. Not everyone is an Elon Musk. Not everyone is like, just someone special. This is why, maybe but Asian people have already proven that. We show you the framework. Most people do very straightforward lives. It's just how it is.
I mean, of course. I mean, that's what I said. In the beginning, that it's the plethora of options, and that there's you think you want this, but then it's like, no, you don't want this, or you felt pressure to go down this road because it's the most practical, but then you have this fear of missing out because we're all influenced by our environment. And so it's either we don't allow a lot of choices, or we take we limit the influence around us.
I think they did a study. I forgot what, but they did a study like ice cream flavors, where people had no issue with like let's picking through like I don't know, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. And then I think that they had so many people had like I don't know, unhappy results when they had 50 flavors to pick from. And that's kind of an analogy of life. It's just options are great, but we see it today. The more options, it's not giving people better results. That's the thing. Yeah. So I've said this in this video where, okay, if feminism is so great, why are we seeing worse results? Because in my opinion, right, Asian community in general they're not the most stout feminists, and Asian people are producing good results. The Asian community never said, "Oh, women can't work." No, you see, it's like you're seeing the results of you're seeing the culture of Asians. I think they're disproving what Western ideology is, and we are doing better than if we're doing better than white people who pretty much created and touted feminism. That has to say a lot, in my opinion. This is why I use the Asian community as the benchmark. Okay, so that's how I go about it.
See,
come on, it's like, I know it probably is hard for you to completely agree with me.
I was going to say, like you want when you are aware of like others, right? You have this curiosity to want to see if that works for you. I was gonna say, the what we want is like the best of, best of both worlds, right? Like, because I know you use the Asian culture as like sort of, standard, and to me, like, although although they do have the results, you know they don't have the results in, if say like happiness, right? I think laughing, your chat mentioned, Japan and China, the problems that they have. See, so
Well,
it's like, it comes down to like, what exactly do, like, I'm speaking of, America, because we're Americans, what exactly do we want? What kind of outcomes do we want? Do we, we have to figure out, we all have to agree on, the outcome, and then work sort of our way backwards. Because from like right now, it seems like, people, like some wants, to do their own thing. Some wants family, some wants marriage, some don't want marriage. It's like, there's too many stuff, and that's why people are lost, and that's why they don't know. That's why, women and men are they have, they feel like they don't have like a purpose in life.
well, here's the thing where I've said this before, right? We're seeing the results of Japan, China, and Korea is because the same results of the US. They are experiencing the same thing. And in my opinion, it is again thanks to feminism. Feminism is bleeding into these Asian nations because they have low marriage rates, high divorce rates. In my opinion, I've said this before. I believe human beings in general, the main happiness is family. I'm sorry, no matter how great you, as the average person, right? Average person, family is always our most happiest, in my opinion. A woman having children and a good husband, a man having a good wife, children, that, in my opinion, is the benchmark of happiness. But we
You
have
really
these
are like,
first world.
you really are Asian, because it seems like you only care what's on paper. So as long as
Well,
there's a family, that's good. As long as, on paper you have a family, okay, you're good. It doesn't matter,
well,
it doesn't matter that he goes to, legalize, a
no, no, no,
brothel.
no, no, no. That's what I said. I said a
That is,
good.
that's Japan,
No,
and that's even Korea too, South Koreans too.
they actually have a low marriage rate. They're not. They have a low marriage rate. And again,
Yeah, the marriage rate has declined. Yes.
yes. So I'm saying that I'm again. This is, I said this before, where the problem isn't that we should flip things on its head and change it completely. No, we should improve on existing systems. Right? I think marriage rate is a good solid system. The problem is that we should be choosing, based on with loving who the person is. Okay. Back then, marriage rates is a lot of time, marriages are sometimes business like. Okay. You marry someone with a good background, they marry someone with a good background, so on and so on. Today, we could do that a little bit, but it should be with modern lens where, why not love? Right? Why not? Oh, we talk again. This is why I said improve on it, right? We are more communicative than ever before, right? We talk more about our feelings than people of the past. Men now talk more about their emotions than men of the past by leaps and bounds, okay? So that's the thing we improve on, where, we talk to each other, we understand each other, we get more, you love my personality, I love your personality, we have the same framework, okay? That's how we get good partners. We find good partners. We're not just like back in the day, people married because, okay, you know what? You can provide, I can give birth, boom, good. Or you have a good family, I have a good family, boom, good. No, we should improve on it. Right? And
Right.
that's the thing I'm saying. But the problem now is that, okay, let's go 360. Career, or it's like you have to be wealthy, or you have to be top tier, good looking, or whatever, the superficial shit. That's the problem. That's the problem, where we're not improving on existing systems. We're just going 360s or 180s on things. I think that's the problem.
No, because okay, you know what was what was so-called, part of the system, the woman stays home. She does she works at home. She's not getting paid or anything, but he cheats and stuff like that, and he kicks her out.
There's no numbers on that. You have no
Are you
numbers on
saying that
that.
oh, come on, you're saying that does not happen? Or
Are
she
you
doesn't
saying that
get
that's the majority of time?
she
Are
takes
you
it.
saying that's the majority? We're doing,
No,
when we talk, we have to talk in general, which is usually, if it's not 51%, it's not even bother talking about it.
if that wasn't the case, then like what's the need for women to like to work as in get paid, right? That
To help.
if you were to ask a woman why she does this career, the independent, it's because we don't want to have to rely on a man, because we know that if we rely on a person, that they have this power over us. We can't do we can't buy what we want. So that's why we would rather just go and work, and that way nobody could tell us what to buy, because nobody tells you what to buy, but then you're going to tell me what to buy and what not to buy.
This is the thing where I find it like disingenuous of you. So let's say hypothetically, I mean, you tell me about your life. You have a husband, or quote unquote a husband. Would you go out blindly, spend, I don't know, $2,000 on a purse without ever telling your husband?
Hell no.
What are you talking? See, what are you talking about, girl? You're literally talking counter to your fucking life. You wouldn't even do that to your husband. You think he would do that to you? Would he spend just out of nowhere, out of the blue, just spend $2,000 on whatever he wants?
But then one of the what you call the reasons for divorce is financial reasons.
But you don't know why. Financial reasons is usually not enough, right? A lot of those financial reasons is that there's not enough money, right? We can't buy certain things we want. Hell, my ex broke up with me because you know what? She didn't get enough from me. She didn't have enough, because that's the problem we live in. Also, we live in a world where luxury is very important. Luxury is a big factor, and that's also the part of that's also part of like, oh, so many options. I want the trip to Dubai. I want the the Louis Vuitton. I want the shit. Like, that's also the problem with our society as well. That's why finances is a big issue, because let's say hypothetically we're not agreeing on what we should spend our money on. You think we should spend $2,000 on like a trip. I think we should spend $2,000 on let's say pay down our mortgage. That's sometimes why finance is a problem in marriage. So it's not necessarily because she can't do what she wants with money. No, it's because a lot of marriages, right? They don't know how to communicate correctly. They don't know how to be honest. They actually come into a mindset where they hate each other. In my opinion, this is what, again, you have a quote unquote marriage in the sense that communication is a key, and I believe communication is a key, right? So you should pick someone that is an important factor.
Yes, of course. That's why, because see, now it's sort of like what you said sort of contradicts, because you said the woman, we go into marriage, hating the man, but then again, but at the same time you go, the reason why mine, works is because I communicate. Yeah, of course. Like, you wouldn't, you love this person, that's why you married them. There's no hate there. The hate usually develops because because of plainly expectations. You are not, I have expectations. You're not, you didn't reach my expectation. Therefore, I'm like, I resent you. I start to feel some sort of way about you. And a lot of times we have hidden, expectations. And I think that you should always be upfront and honest, with their partner when it comes to expectations.
But here's the thing where Asian people have different expectations than Westerners. Asian people, expectation is providing necessities. While I'm sorry, the Western mindset, which is very individualistic, it is luxuries. I mean, like, I haven't digged in deep into it, But again, women are the ones who predominantly file for divorces. A lot of times, let's say the ones with finances, it's usually because of the luxuries they want, right? The things that they can't have, the things that they don't have. It's not because, oh, he's not providing a roof over my head. It's not that he can't pay for electricity. It's that, you know what? I want luxury. I'm not getting luxury. So there is divorce in the financial cases. That's a lot of times. It's not because, oh my God, he's too poor to, pay for, half of the bills. No, that's not when it comes to the finance parts. So I think that's, part of the whole, and this is the thing, I don't necessarily think women hate men who they marry. I think women have a certain, like you said, expectations. And the problem is that a lot of these expectations isn't grounded in a sensible path. Again,
Right.
option mindset. Women want luxuries. They do, particularly modern day Western women. They want luxuries, and if you can't provide it,
But see, and that's where I go back to, we all have to have agreed,
yeah,
principles and values, because what we value is money, because luxury lifestyle is the dream. That's what we're
Mhm.
teaching people. The luxury lifestyle is a dream. So then you can't fault people for wanting that dream when you're saying that's the dream. That's the life that you want.
But
That's the grand life.
But this is the problem, right? Asian people, we're achieving that dream. The problem is that we don't our women don't think about it differently. He has to provide that dream. No. This is maybe, I don't know, maybe you could vouch for it. Asian women are ride or die in a sense, right? Not all, but I think a good, at least 51%. Yeah, they're ride or die. They are going to achieve that dream along with you. They're going to build with you. They're building along with you. While I'm sorry, I think a lot of feminist women, they do not want the building part, because the building part is ugly. The building part is very I don't know about you, but you see this a lot on social media. I don't want struggle love. Bitch, this is Asian people know struggle love. We go through plenty of struggle love. Right? We go through the dirt with, Asian women a lot of times will go through the dirt with men, and they don't cry about it. They don't mind about it. Hell, they sometimes they expect it.
That's a fact.
They're building along with you. So yeah, this is why you see this a lot of sometimes these reality shows where these Asian women they're wealthy. Well, because they built along with their men. These women were with their men when they were dirt ass poor for years on end. And that's the thing where, that's the difference. All right. There's no expectation that, oh, he has to be wealthy right now, or that I have to have luxury right now. It's that the expectation is that, you know what? He has to be a good man and has to provide, has to be a good, be there for me. Only with the hopefulness of success. And we are doing it. Asian people are doing it. Right? I've said these numbers before. Not just the Chinese, but the Vietnamese, the Laos, the Thais, even the third world nation Asians, they are doing close to or better than white people. So even the ones that didn't come here because they were highly educated or highly wealthy, they are now doing better or equal to white people. And that's the grind of Asian people, both Asian men and Asian women. So I just think that we fight against the American, flaws. That's why this is why I don't know. I think you fight. I think you are fighting against Asian ideology with your feminist and leftist point of view. I don't know why, but I'll just tell you this. What angers me the most are Asian people like you, because you're not a representation of democratic, leftist, feminist ideology. You're not. Asian people are not.
Yeah, we're very traditional.
Yes, seriously. I was I tell you this, right? If Asian people were the majority of the West, we would be all Republicans. It's just if we were confined by American government system, we would be Republicans. It's just how it naturally would be.
Yeah, but then see, I forgot who said this, but then I think it was Jordan Peterson that like there's like you don't want, you know, because when it's just you know, if this country was just run, you know, off of like conservatism or traditionalism, then you know this country would not like progress.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Because you're not open open to new ideas.
no, I agree. I agree. I mean, again, this is why I'm not crying about you know, people with different point of views. To be honest, I like you know, I don't mind it, right? So it kind of why is like I would never move to a highly homogenous country like Asia or anywhere. I don't. I mean, like I enjoy the different point of views, right? I do.
And I think that's why we have these problems, because yeah, there's a lot of you know, when you this country allows for freedom, you're allowed to do whatever you want. Of course, I'm not talking about, you know, that you know, you're allowed to just do, you know, bad shit, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Yeah. And you know how this person lives their life, you don't have to follow, you don't have to adhere to, you don't have to do any of that. You could choose whatever path that you, yeah. And so it's why we have the problems that we have. And see, it breeds for innovation. That's the thing. It breeds innovation, but then see, now we have too many, you know, too much of innovation, and that's why we get easily influenced. You know, we want this, we want this, we want this, we want this. No, we want this new car. You know, every year, you know, there's like a new model for something, and so like, yes, while
Yeah.
people think it's good, but it's not, in a way, it's not good. So yeah,
This is a thing where, you know, I agree that, you know, nothing is. This is why I go about this. Where I don't know if you saw the whole video, right? The fairness is stupid. Okay, nothing is perfect. Nothing in life will be perfect. I just my only problem is that we should be more tolerant of different viewpoints. Right? This is why I love when you or Alan, you know, come on with different views. I don't. I on this channel, I support different views. I'm very respectful with different views. I think that's the only problem I have. I'm a big supporter of. I don't care if you have a different view of mine. You know, I just think that I would never wish death upon you before a different view. And I think that's the problem with our modern day society, and why I don't know. I think there, in my honest opinion, I think there should be more healthy debates and just conversations between each other. And how I see it is that I only see it from the Democratic or left side, where they dislike different point of views in general. I'm not saying all of them, of course. You know, I talk to plenty that you know, that's okay with it. But the problem is that, you know, I think that
but you have to see why though, because it serves, because your
there's no
lack
why.
of openness, yeah, your or lack, or you know, refuse so to be, you know, a little bit open, it's gonna have a direct effect on my life. See, whether I you know, choose to do whatever has no effect on yours, but then you definitely has an effect on mine. You get it?
How so? Because let's say this, right? The one that you even do, right? The Roe v. Wade thing, right? The abortion thing. It it this is why I love America, because if you don't like something, you can move to a different state. We have freedoms. This is why it's like you don't. We have freedoms. You just don't have 100% freedom. I think that's a dangerous thing. So I don't believe that my opinion has an effect on your life. It only has an effect on your life if you allow it. That is it. If you allow it to have an effect on your life, then okay. But that's because you allow it. And technically, it doesn't. So, like I said, I give you the example: abortions. Well, okay, You go to Texas, hypothetically, I don't know for sure, but you go to Texas and they don't allow you to abort. Okay, you go to New York, and probably if you want to abort, you're probably better off in New York anyway, right? Living in New York anyway. So again, we have like the options. As crazy as it is, we have multiple options.
No, I get it, but then whatchamacallit, usually, it's usually those that are on the right are, they're the staunch, they're the like what's the word? Like the devout, right? And what I mean by that is like, if like say if I'm gay and I want to get married, I can't, right? Because I like if I get married, I'm gay and I get married, it has no effect on your life, right? But say if like we need say if gay marriage was was still like illegal, right? Yeah, see, it would require we would need your support in order to pass that bill. See, so that's what I mean by like it's whatchamacallit, like what I do doesn't really have that big of effect on yours, but then
okay. One of the things is that America is always it's like they're first of all, right? Personal opinion. I don't even know why gay people want to get married. For me, I've always stoutly believed that marriage is only or the main purpose of marriage is creating a family. So to be honest, this is personal opinion. I don't believe that lesbians or gays, they're not creating a family, or they shouldn't, in my opinion. So it's
they
like
are.
by adopting
yeah.
kids, it's like okay,
Yeah.
I don't really think that that's a good thing anyway.
Screw ups from us average heterosexual couples that don't want to take care of our kids. They're the one that's picking up our mess, and so
They're not picking up your mess. They're not picking up people's mess. They're not.
yeah, because there's way more of us than them.
So they're not really picking up. They're not solving anything. Plus, that's a kind of a little bit different topic because our adoption system is also very flawed. Because I forgot, I read it somewhere where there are hundreds of thousands of families that want to adopt, but our adoption system is very backwards, and it makes it hard for them. So it's like there's flaws in that. So I'm not really digging with that. I don't know, right? I just don't.
I'm just saying, stop blaming everything on feminism. It's not feminine. See, I see feminine. It was just a movement. What women want is just the ability to choose whatever they want for their life. Like you're taking away choice.
Well, I mean, you hear what I said before, right? Technically, I'd rather take away choice, because too much choice is not necessarily the best thing. So I'm sorry. Again,
I'm talking about our ability to choose. Just our ability to choose for ourselves. That's all. I'm not talking about choices, like external choices.
It's a little bit disingenuous. It's like, but even before feminism, women had choices.
No,
they did. Right, women did. I'm not talking about I don't know, the 1700s, but I mean before feminism, women. It's like
that was the whole point of feminism, because women wanted to be able to live on their own without
women could live on. I mean, women could live on. Yeah, probably. This is the thing where women could live on their own. They probably wouldn't be as successful as women today to live on their own. But again,
it doesn't matter. Whether that would be the the consequences, or the the consequences of her choices. She thought that she could make it out on her own, and she can't.
Hey!
So because you think that she can't, so therefore you take away her choice.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? I said before,
or don't give her that choice. That's not how. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, the thing is that I've said this, that okay, fine. I like feminism that women are held accountable for their actions, but as a humanist, right? I'm a humanist. That does nothing for us. A woman or a man separating themselves from society or not being productive to society. This is why I'm not really. I don't say I hate because I'm not hating anyone, but I'm not necessarily the most stout LGBT whatever community supporter, because
Me too.
it doesn't help, it doesn't provide, it doesn't continue human civilization. So a man going his own way, a woman going his own way, that doesn't benefit really society. So I'm not the biggest supporter of any of that. I believe the best for society is men and women getting together. I've always believed that, because that produces the next generation, that furthers human civilization. So I would never be a part of any kind of movement that honestly supports and separates men and women. I just don't. I just, it doesn't make sense to me. So I just can never get behind it.
Well, whether you like it or not, there's still,
Well, yeah, I'm not God. I'm not God. I'm not a leader. I'm just, this is personal opinion. This is why, it's, little, my little corner of the world. Right. So that's why I say the things I say. But yeah, I mean, like, again, I'm not, if I'm going to take away I'm going to take away women's rights to vote. I'm not going to do that. All right. I'm not going to, oh my God, I'm going to take away the alphabet community's rights. No, I'm not going to do that. But I'll say that.
Are you saying that there's no, there's not like a faction out there that wants to take away women's right to vote, women's rights, and the alphabet community, want to take away their rights?
Is there people that want it? Yeah, there are people that want it. Is it this is the thing where, as much as people will say, "Oh, let's repeal whatever the women's rights to vote," in my opinion, that won't ever happen, because it's hard to go backwards when we've already gone forward. Okay, it's hard to do that. So it's like, it's people who like, I think there was like one was like, what is it, like certain white people say, oh, we want to get rid of all black people. That doesn't even make sense, because it can never happen, right? Unless we truly become a dictatorship, which is in my opinion impossible, because no one person can take complete control or create their own military to storm and take control of the Capitol, right? I mean, other countries do that, or let's say like other, I don't know, dictatorship countries where if a leader has a big military, he can take over the government. Okay, that can't happen in America, right? That can't happen in America. So yeah, we talk a lot. We talk a lot of game, and that's the freedom of speech. We can talk a lot of game. We can say our own conspiracy theories. Okay, cool, whatever. That's the fun of, like, okay, you have a conspiracy theory. Let me talk about it. Okay. But it means nothing in the grand scheme of things. Right. So I don't hate it.
Maybe that's the issue then, right? Quit trying to, the reason why, like, that's what, like I said, I think feminism it's more of a reactionary. It's, and I understand that that's why we have the red pill, the manosphere space, because that's reactionary also.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, like I understand, like I get it. But it's like, what good does it do if you're like, yeah, that's why, you should go back to the kitchen. Like, it makes the whip go, you know what, like, screw you then. Tell me that I belong in the kitchen.
That probably is the best place for you.
Oh, can't believe you said
what
that.
Say? Wow. I mean, but this is a thing where I've said this before, where even if I don't like certain things, that is why I love America, because I should hear, even if you spout hateful shit, I should still want you to do it, because at the end of the day, I can say something back to you. Okay, that's what I love about America, and we should be able to do that. Okay, I don't want to censor things, even if someone says crazy things about Asian people. Okay, well, I'm going to come on and I'm going to talk. I'm going to debate you on it. I'm going to have a conversation with you on it, because you have this is America. You have the freedom to say whatever you want. But guess what? I also have the freedom to say shit back to you. And I like that, because you look at the UK. If I say something that, hurts your feelings, I can be arrested for that. That is fucking crazy to me. That is crazy. If I hurt your feelings, in some cases, I can be arrested. I think that's absolutely dictatorship. Right? If we talk about fascism, we talk about dictatorship in America. Well, that literally, right? If if you can't say shit and I can't say shit back to you, that is literally going down the path of said dictatorship and fascism. So I'm not a supporter of that. I don't care if you say terrible things. I don't.
I know, and I don't either. But
Mhm.
sorry, I was like reading the chat too. Like no one ever says, you don't ever hear women go, you belong in the factory. Come on now, no one ever says that.
Well,
But you always hear men say, get back in that kitchen.
Women are saying that men used to go to war, right? Women are saying that, men used to go to war. Now men, it's like, again, I mean, a lot of women, I mean, that's the thing. When you got freedom of speech, people are going to say stupid shit. So what?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, like
right?
I
don't mind.
That's why I have no problem with like back and forth. People can insult me and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, of course, we're not talking about whether a person has, the right to or not, because that's one of the, the things that we, I guess, you could say take for granted in our country, right? The fact that, yeah, we could just, say, yeah, the most hurtful shit and not get locked up.
Here's the thing where, okay, Alan said, do you think a world would be better if people stop saying derogatory stuff? I think it would be worse. Because why? Why do I think it'd be worse? Because if I'm not going to say it to your face, I'm going to say it behind your back. That's the problem. All right? And I'd rather you say it to my face so I know who's talking. Right? I know that, that's who you are. Right? I've said this before where this is why I don't like Democrats, right? Today is because they will hug you, right? They will hug you. While hugging you, they may stab you in the back. While as much as we hate the Republicans, if they're going to stab you, they're going to stab you to your face. So I know they're not like, they're faking it. No, if they're racist, they're racist. While Democrats, we're not racist. We believe in, minorities. Well, then, you don't believe in the same thing they believe in? They're going to say racist shit. I literally seen videos of it. So, to be honest, because this is the problem. We won't ever, ever live in a world where every one person is a good person. That will never happen. So, I'd rather you, and I don't know how old are you, right? But I'm 42. I live in an age where when I was a kid, like people who said like ching chong and all that shit, well, I'm going to say something back at you. Yeah, you want to make fun of me? I want to make fun of you. And then at the end, we just laugh about it. We just laugh about it, and like if I the mother jokes, the racist jokes, we will say shit back to each other. That's the time I lived in. Okay, so we weren't as sensitive as I think people are now. So I'm not gonna cry if people say racist shit to me. I'm not. I'm gonna say it right back at you. Well, today probably can't because you get striked, but
I to me it's just if I hear like hateful stuff, I just of course I'm gonna say something back, but that's as far as I'll go though. Like I never mind like the back and forth.
No, to be honest, Alan says no. Like no one ever stabs you in the back at all. It's like a hypothetical mostly. Like, do you think it would be a net positive or negative for people to stop saying slurs? Okay, do I think that if the world was all good people compared to, it's like, yeah, I mean, if we were all good to each other, great. But it's like, it's literally that, hypothetical. It's just something that will never happen. So yeah, would I love it if people don't say derogatory things to each other? Of course. Yeah, that'd be great. But the problem is that isn't reality, right? This is why a lot of times this whole sometimes when it comes to feminism or Democrats or left is that they want a world to be utopia. And I love it, right? Like I said this so many times. When I was like back in, I don't know, when Bernie Sanders was running for president, I was exactly like that. I wanted a utopia, right? I so believed in a democratic view. Oh my God, we're gonna get a utopia, right? Freedom for everyone, universal health care, all this shit. It's gonna be such a beautiful, nice thing. And then realize that even in the Democratic Party, they didn't like him. So it's like, so the people who spout a utopia didn't want a supposed utopia. And this just got me realizing shit like that is fucking make believe. It's make believe.
No, because that's because people have different, agendas, even
And
within
that's
our
the thing.
own, even within the,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that just proves it. It will always be make believe, right? Like I said, even in the Democratic
No,
Party,
but
who
we can,
supposedly
yeah,
pushes this.
but what we want is peace. Though we want to, be cordial. We want to be able to to coexist and not have
It will
any
never.
problem, and
It
not
will never.
have to worry about. No, it can be, but then just people choose not to be. That's the problem. Ignorant people choose to act like assholes because because they can. Now, who's promoting peace and
No, but I mean, let's say we
and
wake up
hate?
tomorrow and
Come on now.
every known slur and derogatory, bigoted word and comment was forgotten by everyone. Do you think they should? No. Again, if we can create a peaceful utopia, happy-go-lucky world, great. I wouldn't cry about it. I wouldn't. I mean, would that strip people of the individualism? I don't know, but I mean, yeah, I wouldn't cry about it, right? I would say great if everyone is nice to everyone, beautiful. But again, like I said, it doesn't make sense because let's say this, even in the party that says they want to tout peace and all that shit, even they can't agree with each other. So if that can't happen, that shows you that at the end of the day,
Yeah, because
the
each person
individual
is.
mindset.
I'm sorry, Dia. Go ahead.
No. It's just the individual mindset would never let that happen, and it's a make believe shit. Right? We can never get rid of all bad people. We can never get rid of. Again, this is the thing where human beings just don't think the same, right? In general, right?
Yeah,
There will
but
always
see,
be
but
one person
then
that thinks
the left is more about inclusivity and promoting like I understand that of course we will all we would all we would always have disagreement because each person are their own people, but the left promotes more community than the right. The right. Of course, the right is all about individualism.
No. Do they? Would they? No, actually, they're not. They're about family. Do they
No,
include?
they're not.
The right is conservative.
They spout traditionalism, but then are they following traditionalism? No.
How's not? I mean, they have the right has more marriages. They promote marriages, right? They promote marriages, and here's the thing, right? Okay, but to say that the left is the Democrats is more inclusive. Do you believe that they're happy about or they're very inclusive or they're very inviting to the right? I don't think so. They're really not. No, they're not.
The right wants to ship us off. A person of different skin tone, skin color wants to ship us off. What are you talking about, DA?
Who? Don't use the illegal immigrants as a ship off thing. That's no.
No, that's the only people on the right. They don't want more mixed people in this country. And if you go even deeper inside, you have again the Fuentes. They want to ship us out of this country, even though we may be born here. They don't want us in here.
First of all, I don't care. I've never supported to deport immigrant Americans because that doesn't make sense. You can't deport me anywhere, right? You can't deport me anywhere because nowhere would accept.
What if they offer you money?
But they can't because then the other nation has to accept you. And why would the other nation accept someone that's not a citizen of their own nation? They can't do that, right? That's impossible. That can never happen. It just can't because then you have to assume that the other country, the other nation would accept you. They wouldn't because they have immigration policies. Now, I'm a big supporter of deporting illegal immigrants, right? So I don't care. I'm not, I'm not against that. But again, we have extremists always, right? If you're talking about extremists who's like, oh, I want to deport everyone that's a minority. Well, that's a stupid take. So that doesn't matter.
But then it's okay for you to point out the extremists in our side, but it's not okay for me to point out the extremists on your side.
Who says it's not okay? I never said it's not okay.
Because you're saying that, I'm using extreme, DA, are you still here?
You can hear me?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That was crazy. We'll probably be wrapping up
Okay.
soon.
I was just saying that like whenever you make points, I understand that it's usually it's not a big it's not the majority of the people on the left. But then like every time I point something out, you always seem to, go, oh, see, that's just the extremist part of our party. I'm like, yeah, the points that you make, that stuff that you call out, that's the extremist side from ours. But then, I'll like accept it too, because even though it's extremist, that's still part of our party. Like we sort of have to like sort of acknowledge it and find, either like find ways to taper that down or, do something about it. But for you guys have this like, this dismissive, oh, they're not part of us, even though they are.
No, but you got to think about this, right? How I view it is that I think, in my personal opinion, the extremists makes up a big part of the left. While how I view it, right? I see examples with the protests, right? Protests, riots, whatever. Okay, now people will bring up January 6th. I don't disagree with January 6th, but I mean, we could compare the numbers, right? The amount of protests on the right compared to the amount of protests on the left. We can compare about the modern day violence on the left, right? Political violence. Right? I mean, yes, if you look at stats, totality right-wing violence, I don't disagree, but modern day left-wing violence has been proven to have increased during modern day, society. So I see it as today, right? I see more extremists or visible extremists from the left than I do from the right. Now, of course, there are extremists in the right. I don't disagree with that. But in my opinion, they don't make up the majority. Because here's the thing, right?
They do.
No, because you don't, right? Because you look at, let's say, the biggest death, Charlie Kirk. You didn't see riots. You didn't see protests for the biggest figure on the left rioting. You didn't see that. Right? You don't.
Why would there need to be a riot?
Why? One of the biggest figures on the right was assassinated. Right? George Floyd, right? George Floyd was a nobody in the black community, yet he qualified for a riot. He qualified for injustice as in. You think Charlie Kirk's death was less than?
No, I'm saying that you're it's a little bit it's a little bit different than one with Charlie Kirk. It wasn't like
it should be bigger. It should be bigger because he was admired by millions. He was liked by millions. He was known to so many people. But again,
well, if that's the case, then like how come then should we riot after
I'm not saying we should.
Like a celebrity dies, should we riot? The president pass away. Like, what are we saying here?
But I'm not saying that we should or shouldn't. I'm saying that what I see, okay, what I'm seeing. I'm saying what's visible, okay, where I see riots, I see extremists. When let's say,
what's an extremist on the left?
What okay, all the things when it comes to the ICE situation. Okay, you've seen people who drive into ICE facilities. You've seen people who, throw rocks at ICE agents. You see.
Do you see what the ICE agents are doing?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. So it's okay and that's the thing, right? It's okay for government to treat us like shit.
But it's extremism, right? It's extremism. Right? That's the thing where if you're taking action.
Okay, maybe misspoke then. I'm talking about like because like the Fuentes part, right, of your on the right. You guys go, oh, that's they have extreme ideology. What do you consider?
Just put the people talking. Okay, I don't necessarily.
Say that they don't.
I don't. But I'm not saying that it's not
Do you say
extreme.
that people
I'm
who
sorry.
AOC, do you consider AOC extremists?
The some of the stuff I do, but I don't. I mean, like, her actions might not be the most extremist, but I mean, her rhetoric wouldn't
You
be.
guys think that a woman with blue hair is extremist, DA?
No, I'm talking about words
Yes, you
and
guys
actions.
do.
Right? I'm talking about words and actions. Right? I can agree that Nick Fuentes is extremist because of his words. I can say that AOC is extremist sometimes because of words, but I also can say that actions is also an extremist as well. And I don't see as much action on the right as I do on the left. It's just how it is, right? We can even out, right? Yes, there's extremist words on the right, and there's extremist words on the left. But as the left, also they have extremist actions. I don't see equivalent to extremist action on the right. I mean, you point it out for me.
Just because like the left chooses to use like an extreme tactic, that doesn't make them extremists in ideology.
Don't do that. If you're doing extreme shit, you're doing extreme shit.
Colin Kaepernick kneeling down, you guys call that what you call it extremist when that's not even nowhere near extreme.
I don't know if I don't think I've heard people call that extremist.
Yes, that's why it blew up. Why do you think it blew up?
It blew up because it's like
all he did was he nailed it. He was quiet. He didn't even say a damn word.
Well, okay, fine. If it was extremist, but then that shows you that that's extremist on the left.
No, it's not extreme. You guys see it as extreme. Nick Fuentes wanting to ship brown people off, that's an extreme ideology. That's what I'm saying. Because you want to talk about action, right? Yeah, see, the left.
Name some more.
Quiet, just kneeling down quiet.
Name some more.
That's extremist.
Okay, fine. It's not, I don't disagree that Nick Fuentes is extreme, but that's all you're bringing up. You just bring up him. One person does not equal the left. Does not equal the right.
To say that he's not. To say that he's not. You just said Charlie Kirk is admired by a lot of people. Yeah, and he's somewhat extremist. Yeah. So
no, don't do that. You gotta say what Charlie Kirk said is an extremist thing. And let's be honest, right? Charlie Kirk, he actually goes out and have talks with mainly people on the left. I don't see people on the left doing the same thing. Going to places that are very filled with right ideology and doing the same thing. I find that this is why I like Charlie Kirk. At the very least, he's inclusive. He wants the right to go. He wants the left to come and talk to him. And that got him killed. Right? Show me the same on the left.
He got killed by a person on the left?
He did.
No.
It's been proven right? That the guy who killed him.
He came from a conservative family. What are you talking about? His family's conservative.
Come on, right? Come on, don't do that, right? Because this is a thing where
I know you guys love to always blame the left, but no, he was not definitely left.
Is your family conservative?
No, just because we practice, no.
No. Is your family conservative?
Are you talking about voting? No.
I'm not talking about voting. I'm talking about values.
Socially.
Okay. And you literally
see, my lifestyle is conservative. But then
you see how you could be different, right? At least the things you say.
Yeah, because
it is understandable.
It's a choice. It's a choice. It's my choice to be a stay-at-home mother.
Yeah. So
his
choice can be left. Doesn't mean that his choice has to be right. Right? And literally, it's been proven that he dates a trans person. I don't know many conservatives that do that.
Wait, who?
His girlfriend is a trans. It's a trans woman. I don't know conservatives that do that. And then this is why it's dishonest. We both know that even if you come from a conservative family, you could be a Democrat. You could be left leaning. Your family doesn't automatically force Republican, force you to be Republican. You could literally
His lifestyle is the what you call is like it even like
no,
how
his
could you even
family
say that?
is. That doesn't mean that his lifestyle is, because literally he went to college. He's dating a trans person. Literally, that's why he
Is
got
that
mad.
verified fact?
Yes, literally,
His roommate?
his trans girlfriend. No, his trans girlfriend testified. Went on stage. Went in court to testify for him. So it is.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but again, okay.
But
If
see,
you don't know about it,
also you're saying that just because his girlfriend is look Blair White, she's a conservative, a staunch Republican. Do you know who Blair White is?
Is that? Yeah, but this is the thing. Well, I'm just saying that like we can both agree that even if you come from a conservative family, you could.
But you made that. I get it. Yes.
I don't like again. All right, I don't know. We can both agree too. We don't know many conservatives that would necessarily be all supportive of the trans community. That's a fact. I mean, like,
no, see that's what I'm saying. Like in this day and age, where like you could be what you call a progressive, but then yet live a traditional lifestyle, or you could be a gay couple, but then be Republicans.
Yeah, so I'm not.
Because now everything is like sort of it's everything is gray, everything has blurred.
But let's say this, right? Whether we can, whether we don't need to dig.
Come on, evil Eddie.
Yeah, it's like don't worry about that. He's just
I know he's played her.
But again, it's just for me, it's like at the end of the day, I do see the left as more as not as I'm not saying that they don't care about their voter base, but I don't see that they're inviting to the right. They're not, particularly modern day, particularly today, because you don't see as much violence from the right to the left as you do to the left to the right. That's just in general. I'm not.
So the reason why you're labeling the left extremes because they're willing to take so-called extreme measures by protesting and doing all that stuff. Am I right?
It's part of it. Part of it. I mean, I also include some of the violent attempts on people's lives on the right as part of the left. So
yeah, but, I don't know. I don't think so, but
that's fine. That's fine.
Because see, that's not incongruent with the whole point of being a progressive. If you want to be for inclusive, like why would you then want to see that doesn't make sense.
You give too much credit to your side. This is why I prefer to say I'm center right, because I don't tout how amazing the right is. Okay, I don't, because they're very flawed. Right? I don't give them that much credit that you give to the left. I know plenty of terrible people on the right. I to be honest, I don't even see the right as all that great. I just see that they have certain views that I agree with, and I rather agree with them than I do the left. But doesn't mean that I like the right. So
yeah, I don't. That's why I don't call myself a Democrat. I'm an independent.
You are so. I don't see you as critical as them. I don't see you all that critical of the left. And that's why I said it feels so weird that you're Asian, you're very traditional, and yet you're so stout to defend them a lot of times. It just amazes me.
Yeah, because it's the ideology. It's the because that's what I want. I want our world to be I want us to take care of it's because my values align with the left more than the right.
I guess. I mean, like, again, I said that I was a Democrat before. I just feel like they weren't, even though I care about the certain ideology of the left, I just don't think that they are actually a good example of it, in my opinion. So I don't know. To be honest, I do it where, it's kind of a workaround where the right cares about family, and even though I want all of us to have rights and freedoms, I think we can achieve that through families. I don't know. But here's the thing, right? We've been going on long. I want to.
Yeah, I'm so
I want to
sorry.
let you no, it's all good. I really love talking to you. All right, so I want you
Same
to have
here,
the
same.
last word. What's your thoughts? Give me your last words of today.
I know it may not seem like I criticize the left, but then, most of the time when I come up here, I'm just answering your questions. So like if you were to ask me, what is your criticism of the left, then I would have named them, and so that's probably why like it may seem like or come off as like I'm not critical of the left. I am. There's a lot of stuff that I do not like. Like I don't like the whole, the whole like woman, with the whole word woman and birthing person and stuff like that. I don't like that shit. I don't like the I've never been a
You should come up you should come up when I'm like criticizing, the trans community. Jump on board.
All right, next time when you do a segment, then and I happen to be around, then sure I will. Like I have no, I just have no, I don't have a problem. There's a lot of stuff the alphabet community that I don't like. And even the whole like the protesting thing. I've never been I always thought that protest hurts your cause more than it helps your cause. I'm a big believer in that.
I agree.
But then again, people are gonna have difference of opinion and stuff, and so like I get it. I'm not saying anything but that, because usually at protests there's always a few that ends up not falling in line, ends up like going and causing trouble and ruin it for everybody. And that's just the nature of humans when when a pack mentality, there's always there's always going to be a few that will have like some other hidden agenda that would ruin
that's why I don't agree to protesters. I don't it's not a good thing.
But thank you so much for allowing me to come up with and talk to you.
Like I said, you know what? This is the thing, right? You live a little bit of a straight life. Well, I'm trying to give. This is what I'm saying. We can have a little spice. I live a very very straight life myself, right? So this is why I think it's not impossible, right? That's why I believe Asian people are the basis, the core belief on any of my values. This is when I say shit, it's usually because I see it through the Asian lens, and well, Asian people are doing best, so no one could argue about that.
I hear you. I mean, I agree with you a little bit, but then because sometimes I wonder if like the one difference is like materialism, like we don't place huge value in materialism, but I mean in material stuff, but I don't know, like do we? I'll think more on it. And we'll get back to you in next conversation.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, and thanks for everybody in the chat for the engagement. All right, have a good night. Yeah, thank you.
Later. Guys, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the love. Evil Eddie, Omni, Ryu, Self-Made. Thank you guys. Red Door, Ethan, Laughing Man. I love you. Alan was here. Sorry. You caught at the tail end. You're amazing. Thank you for stopping by. I would have loved to debate you or talk to you more, but it is what it is. Red Door, happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, my sister. I love you. Guys, you guys are amazing. Yes. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. You guys are amazing. Later, guys.